The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
And welcome into the Wednesday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Wednesday morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How's everybody?
Doing wonderful this morning. Michelle, how are you doing?
Doing good. Was at the Preds game last night. Was excited, and then was
didn't go well.
Yeah. I was trying to be nice. I was like, yeah, and then yeah.
Not great from the Nashville Predators.
Were you streaming the Cats too?
Joe, really?
Heck, Joe off the top rope immediately. A minute in the show.
I watched it. There was a TV in the box for our station, so I was watching a little bit of that, and then I left the Preds game early, and then I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up and was sad, and now we're here.
Story.
Oh, man. We got a lot to get to today on the program. Obviously, we will get into the Predators and the Vegas Golden Knights. Not great from the Nashville Predators last night. They had 6 shots on goal after 2 periods. That is tough to do at the NHL level. So we'll get into that one coming up a little bit later in the show. Obviously, we're going to be all over the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans today and some other staff changes that Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans have made. Vrabel spoke yesterday, so we'll have a lot to get to on that front. I do want to start real quickly, Joe, on the passing of an NBA record last night. LeBron James gets it done. He has 38 in the game last night in a Lakers loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, but he passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the all-time scoring list. We knew it was going to happen at some point. I felt pretty strongly it was going to happen last night. It looked like there was going to be a concerted effort, and there was. He shot a lot last night. He played well, and good for LeBron, 38 points, and he is now the new all-time scoring leader in the history of the NBA.
Man, the way you said that, I'm like, uh-oh, what did I miss? You're like, the passing of an NBA. I'm like, what? Someone died last night? I missed it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. And also, it's very weird that then LeBron, like, apparently, was he scoreless in the fourth and they lost at home to Oklahoma City? That's
not good.
That's bizarre. Yeah, but that does not – none of those things wipe away the fact that he's the all-time leading scorer. Incredible mark. Man, you know, just like we talked about yesterday, the guy is here's an interesting one that I saw this tweet, and actually, you know, we talk about where is he the GOAT, but is he the greatest Laker is a really interesting one with LeBron, and we don't have time to get into all that, but think about that for a minute. I don't think he's that high on the list because like he's been there a couple years, but it's really interesting, right?
For sure. I mean, I would agree with you.
He did this with the Lakers.
I would agree with you. Like I don't put him very high on like the all-time greatest Lakers list. I mean, just think about the longevity of Kareem or Magic or Kobe or Jerry West. I mean, you can go up down the list. I don't think it quite measures up to that. You know, Will Chamberlain. I mean, you can go up and down the list of the all-time great Lakers.
Shaq.
I mean, he's in there for sure because I mean he has won a championship there. But I mean, you're talking about what? This is his 4th year there, 5th year there.
Right. So, but great shot. Also. There's I don't know if you guys have seen the photo, but the photo of the crowd, and of course, people are making fun because everybody in the crowd is like taking a picture of it, except Phil Knight, who of course has the absolute best seat. He's the front seat under the basket, and he's good for Phil Knight. He's just enjoying the moment.
Well, I tweeted this out a few minutes ago because they keep showing like the shot on TV here. And it's just this is not a shot at the Lakers or at LA or the crowd or anything because it's just a sign of the times. But I do find it fascinating sometimes. Like there'll be an old game on the NFL Network or NBA TV or NHL, whatever it is, and like something will happen and the crowd's just going nuts and they're jumping around all this stuff. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen now, But now, like, the go-to reaction is, all right, let me pull out the phone and start recording it. And there's way less going nuts. So he makes the shot last night, and it's loud in there, but like the crowd reaction, like hardly anybody's moving because they've got their phone just recording the whole thing. It's just weird. It's different.
It's very weird. It's like, there's going to be video of this, like you don't have to capture this. Like, there will be video. And I understand it's like, this is my perspective. So I guess if it's like you have an incredible view of it, then that's cool. Right?
Yes.
Like, if you're higher in the crowd, just scream and throw something,
You would think.
Don't throw a golf ball, though.
No, don't do that.
Well, not anything that's dangerous, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I do. So congratulations to LeBron James. We knew it was going to happen at some point, and he gets it done last night, the all-time leading scorer in the history of the NBA. And it was pretty cool to watch. And like we talked about yesterday, I'm not sure if we'll ever see anything quite like it again. So we'll see what happens on that front. But LeBron is not done. He's going to continue scoring, and I'm interested to see what that number looks like when the day comes that he's said and done playing basketball. It may be one of those records that we talk about as the quote-unquote unbreakable records in sports, but we'll see what happens on that front. Joe, the Titans making some moves yesterday. Obviously, the headliner being the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator. A myriad of moves made by the Titans yesterday. Charles London hired as the pass game coordinator / quarterbacks coach. Chris Harris officially announced as the defensive passing game coordinator. Lori Locust hired as the defensive quality control. Justin Hamilton as defensive quality control. Luke Steckel, who was already here, now the run game analyst. Pat O'Hara, the pass game analyst. Tony Dews moving to tight ends coach. A whole lot going on yesterday for the Tennessee Titans. Jason Hotaling now the offensive line coach. So all the moves that we anticipated the Titans making at some point, particularly with offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, were made, and then a kind of reshuffling of the deck with some coaches that were already on the staff there. But obviously, Joe, the headlining move is Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator. Now that it's happened, now that it's done, your initial reaction to Tim Kelly being named the OC of the Tennessee Titans?
Well, I'd kind of drifted toward Tim Hasselbeck's, Matt Nagy commentary. So, I was kind of, especially with the fact that, the Super Bowl's here in a few days, I was surprised there was an announcement yesterday. I figured, okay, so this means that, that it's going to be someone from the outside. And even like, again, Vrabel's comment, last week, I guess it would have been to Jimmy Wyatt from the Senior Bowl about, kind of waiting for opportunities. I mean, does this mean that, someone on the outside, Nagy or someone else, dropped a text to an agent, to a text to somebody else, said, yeah, I'm good. I don't know. But, Tim Kelly was, of course, the talk for this job for a long time. And I must say, the reaction to it that I've seen, and again, it's just like everything, like, okay, what does that mean? How many people are actually reacting like this? But the reaction I've seen, not very favorable from Titans fans. And I get it, but I would suggest to, look at Tim Kelly as what he's done in an admittedly brief period as an OC. And I think that if Tim Kelly had come, maybe if he had just come from Houston, even though they're bad, or just come from somewhere else and wasn't part of the Titans in 2022, there'd be more excitement about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I kind of put just a Twitter question out there. What are your thoughts on the hiring of Tim Kelly as OC? And most of the responses I got were not favorable to the hiring of Tim Kelly as OC, which is kind of funny because I think heading into last season, there were a lot of people that wanted Tim Kelly to be the OC of the Tennessee Titans ahead of Todd Downing. And I get it. He's the passing game coordinator. You come in, the offense was just so bad last year. So anybody that's associated with that offense last year being named offensive coordinator, I expect some type of that reaction from Titans fans. So I understand it. But I do think that it is important to keep in mind that just because Tim Kelly was on the staff last year with Todd Downing does not mean that he is Todd Downing taking over as the offensive coordinator here with the Tennessee Titans. So, look, we've talked a lot about Tim Kelly and where he's been, what he's done to this point in his career. I'm with you. the fact that it got to this point in the search made me wonder, if it's Tim Kelly all along, why have they waited this long? And then all of a sudden the news comes out of basically nowhere yesterday that he's the hire at offensive coordinator. So it does make me wonder, all right, were they just taking their time and making sure that's what they wanted to do? Did somebody on the outside maybe that they were interested in, to your point, get word back to them that, hey, it's just not going to happen, not going to be interested in this job? I have no idea. I have no idea what took place on that front. But the Tim Kelly part of this, he's an intriguing guy, and he's an intriguing hire. And like you said, there's a history of him doing it in this league. And, Deshaun Watson was there for part of it. Davis Mills was there for part of it. He's kind of been around the league to this point. And obviously this is a guy that Mike Vrabel is comfortable with. This is a system that he believes in running. Vrabel kind of doubled down on that yesterday, and he said, I don't believe that everything's just broken with this system. So the timing part of it is interesting to me in terms of, all right, well, we've waited until 5 days before the Super Bowl to make this move when the guy was in-house all along. But at the end of the day, we've talked about Tim Kelly being the favorite to be the OC the entire time, and here he is as the OC.
Yeah, and Vrabel did also talk about changes. I think it's going to be, basically the same system, especially if the personnel is the same, which I know we'll get into that too. But Tim Kelly didn't run this exact same offense in Houston. So Vrabel did talk about like terminology changes and things like that. And he talked a little bit about tempo. I mean, it's not like, this is technically a run back, and it's an internal hire. But again, a guy who was here one season who was doing different stuff offensively. I mean, anybody watch Houston, just in general terms, you're talking a lot of empty, basically shotgun offense, and it's, you got to adjust to your personnel. What they did was perfect for Deshaun Watson, in particular, his first 2 years as OC. So it's not like this guarantees the abs. I know what everybody's freaked out about is like, I can't stand another year of watching that offense. And on that, I totally agree. And I don't think that's what the Titans want either.
I don't think so either. We're off and running here today on Robby and Rexrode, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. What are your thoughts on the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator? We'll continue that discussion coming up next. Let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Got the Super Bowl coming up this week, and we all have our systems when we bet, from picking the perfect upset to combing through injury reports the night before the game, maybe some player or game props that have really worked for you before. But whatever your strategy is, there's one thing every bettor should include in their system, and that's the responsible gaming tools that are available on FanDuel Sportsbook. These tools help you keep your play in check and under control. Tools like time limits, so you don't unknowingly spend more time on the app than you intended. Wager limits available as well to help you prevent you from betting more than you should. And you can even take a timeout, which pauses your account for as long as you may need. All of these things available on FanDuel Sportsbook, and FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be about fun and entertainment. So visit FanDuel.com/playwell. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/playwell, and make responsible gaming tools a part of your system. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. If you have a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Your home for MTSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
Three ball, yes sir!
All the big shots and moments live here. MTSU basketball is on a station built for you. 94.9 The Fan.
Blackberry Smoke's Brothers and Sisters Ryman Reunion.
Yeah, I can feel a good one coming on.
This Thursday and Friday night, Ryman Auditorium.
Are we waiting for the thunder?
Blackberry Smoke.
My pony ride out of this one horse town.
Tickets on sale now at Ryman.com. Sponsored by PNC Bank and Access, proud partners of Ryman Auditorium.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter. But it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Here's a Valentine's reminder from Genesis Diamonds. It's not just the thought that counts, it's the effort too. So let Genesis Diamonds turn your Valentine's Day gift into a grand romantic gesture with our Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Right now, when you spend just $99 or more at Genesis Diamonds, we'll give you gourmet chocolates, a bouquet from Ginny's Flowers, and a gift card toward a romantic dinner at STK Steakhouse. It's just one stop at Genesis Diamonds and you create a total romantic experience. You simply choose which ring, pair of earrings, or bracelet or sparkling pendant best matches your special someone, and we'll take care of the rest. And as always, we'll guarantee the best value price with no commission salespeople. The Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Jewelry, flowers, dinner, and candy from Genesis Diamonds. Sure does make it look like she's worth the extra effort. And that's the thought that really counts. Hurry in now because packages are limited. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Are you working way too hard for way too little? There's never been a better time to consider a career in IT. You could enjoy a recession-resistant career in a rewarding field with plenty of growth opportunities and often flexible work environments. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new career in months, not years. Take classes online or on campus, and financial aid is available to qualified students, including the GI Bill. Now is the time. mycomputercareer.edu.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Mike, what does today's news mean for Ryan?
Well, I don't think anything. I mean, I talked to Ryan. I let him know which direction that we were headed. He's I don't want to speak for him. He seemed excited, about what we were going to do and about who we were doing it with. But again, Rand and I are evaluating the entire roster. The players that are under contract, the players that are going to be potential free agents here pretty soon. So, Ryan's in here every day, and he's, excited about where things are headed. So, other than that, I don't know what to tell you other than being able to say we've got to get ready here to add a lot of pieces and find ways to do that.
That was Mike Vrabel yesterday discussing the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator and what that could mean for Ryan Tannehill at quarterback with Tim Kelly stepping in to be the OC. Joe, what did you make of Jared's question, Vrabel's response there, and the text message that you and I got from Jared Stillman at 3:12 a.m. our time this morning about how that question ended up on PFT?
Yeah, what time was that for Jared then? 1:12 a.m.?
Yes.
So how drunk was he?
I don't know.
Okay, so PFT talked about it. I haven't clicked on the league. So this is how drunk Jared was. So on the Zoom, I made a joke. I was like, I think Robby Boren, who's Titans PR, said something like, we'll try to get to, or maybe he put it in the little chat on the Zoom. It was so fun to have another Zoom with Vrabel.
Yeah, it really went well yesterday on the Zoom too.
Yeah, Terry McCormick. Unfortunately, he was on one of those Saturn rings that was on the other side of the moon during the thing, and then poor Teresa got caught up in the tractor beam, and Corey Curtis's headset didn't work. It was awesome. He was texting me all pissed off. But so I made a joke on Zoom something like, yeah, I'll just take Jared's question. So then Jared texts us. This is Jared's text quote, can I take Stillman's press conference? Don't see your question getting written up from PFT.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, he's right. Your question's not on PFT.
This is true. And then Jared lit a cigarette. No, I don't know. Every time we talk about Vrabel, I think about Paul Mulls now.
Yeah.
but no, it actually was a good question from Jared, by the way. Good question, interesting response. Um, and look, I think that I would, I think Ryan Tannehill is a clear favorite. I know somebody on the text line's like, can we stop talking about, saying that Brady and Rodgers are coming here? I don't think anybody was saying they're coming here, but when Brady was not retired, it's worth discussing. Rodgers, if they're going to trade him, okay. I mean, the teams that might need quarterbacks are going to be discussed, but I did take this whole thing and even Vrabel's response as a little bit stronger indication that Tannehill's the quarterback next season. But he was the obvious and clear and strong favorite anyway, right?
He was. And look, Vrabel did say at the end of that clip there that, he and Carthon are still evaluating the roster, and that is with free agents, people that are under contract, and all these different things. So I guess you're always leaving yourself some wiggle room if that's the case. But, we've talked about this. Ryan Tannehill, I think, is the clear favorite to be the starting quarterback for the Titans next year. And this hire, I don't think does anything but strengthen that. He's a guy that's worked with Ryan Tannehill and that has been a part of this system. So I think that remains the case. Ben on the text line says, now Mike has made his bed and he'll have to lay in it if the offense isn't good enough. Hot seat starting now. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Obviously isn't usually accurate in football. This is from Ben on the text line. So I get the sense that Ben is not a fan of the Tim Kelly hiring an OC.
Yeah, there's a lot of reaction like that. And again, I understand it. I do. I think for me, what you're going to find, it's what I wrote in the Athletic, and what you're going to find today is, you can go back to Todd Downing if you want. Coaching's important. There's no doubt.
Yep.
And Arthur Smith is a better play caller, better OC than Todd Downing. That's why he's a head coach. And Todd Downing, we'll see. I would think that he'd get a chance to have a job somewhere in the league next year potentially. But I'll go ahead and I'll switch Todd Downing and give him the 2020 personnel, and I'll give Arthur Smith last year's personnel situation. And I bet you our evaluations of both of them are a little bit different based on that.
Well, and that remains the challenge for the Titans this offseason is to get the personnel part of it fixed and give Tim Kelly some things to work with. Megan on the text line says, the upset reaction makes no sense to me. Downing is gone. Kelly knows this offense and knows tweaks and changes to make. This was an expected hire. We don't really know what Kelly did or didn't do last year. It's not fun or exciting, but that's okay. This is from Megan on the text line. So a different perspective.
So that leads well into Liam, which is very good. Unfortunately, two of the three people just talking right now don't get this, but let me just say it how Liam would like his text to be read. What would you say you do here?
I know what you're talking about.
That's about Tim Kelly. But you haven't seen the movie yet, have you?
Nope.
So,
what movie?
I'll get to it.
Office Space. And I don't want to hear it was cringy in the 9 seconds I watched it. It's an amazing
Looks
movie.
like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a perpetual case of the Mondays if you guys don't watch this movie. But Liam said, and then he continued, if they were listening to him, it didn't seem to help. What did he do? If they weren't listening, is it because he and Downing didn't collaborate effectively? Okay, so let's talk about Tim Kelly, what he did last year. Let's go back to, talked about this. I wrote this. I wrote it again in the column today, just as a reminder. As soon as Tim Kelly got the passing game coordinator title, I was told by a source it is, quote, agent crap,
yep,
end quote. And look at this press release the Titans put out yesterday. We got all kinds. Everybody's got to have a time. Chris Harris, who again is a good hire to be cornerbacks coach. Because Booker does coach safeties. He also has defensive pass game coordinator as his title.
Yes.
Ooh,
yes.
Which is it's like, look, Chris Harris is going to get probably a DC job, and he may get one. I think there's one left, right? Is there one open? And he's a candidate for it, but. It's like, again, it's agents like, well, how about a little bit sweeter title on top of just the position you coach, okay? But pass game coordinator, so look, Vrabel talked about how, like, first and second down, like, Kelly had a hand in that, but we've talked about this too. Basically, in practice, looked like he was like an assistant tight ends coach, okay? during practice last year. And then as Vrabel said yesterday, because he was asked a couple different ways about what Tim Kelly did. It's a very valid question. And it's worth re-asking now that he's got the OC job, because during the season, Vrabel was very vague about stuff. Shocking, I know. But he talked about he did a lot of advanced scouting. You know, basically he was part of the game planning. He was a consultant. I mean, somewhat similar to Jim Schwartz, you know, on the other side. That's another thing I was told last year, is just kind of the same idea. Like, you got someone who's done it at a high level who can chime in and help out. But this idea that he's like a co-coordinator with Downing, that wasn't it. I mean, that just wasn't it. And Vrabel was also we don't have time to get into this one, but the whole, you know, why didn't you, you know, switch to him last year or whatever? And I feel like just think about if you did that. You know, like, I understand how bad it was going last year, and I understand how much some people, I know we'll see it in the text line, so badly want it to be just that Todd Downing was an idiot. It would make things so much simpler, right? If Todd Downing was just an idiot, everything else was fine, but it's on Downing. So switch to this guy. You call the plays. I mean, so then you basically have this high-paid, just body lying around the facility. You know, what's he doing now? Todd, you'll clean up over there or something, man. I mean, God, look at all those pizza boxes, you know? I mean, so all the things that are built in for him to do on a weekly basis, now you're going to flip-flop that. You're going to flip-flop their jobs, you know? Guys, the issue last year was that they had garbage personnel on offense. I mean, that's really the issue. So all of which comes back to, I don't think that anything, like, I just wouldn't really blame Tim Kelly for their offense last year. I think it's actually a good thing he was around, got familiar with the personnel, has an idea of how they want to do things, and now he's going to be allowed, since he has the job, to fold in what he wants to add.
Todd, there's a few loose Pall Malls out there that we need you to go pick up. See if you can't find some of those.
Todd, we don't have nearly enough ashtrays around this place, man. Can we put some ashtrays around here? Come on.
We'll continue the discussion on the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator, including one thing that Mike Vrabel said yesterday that caught my attention that I think, if I'm a Titans fan, is the most intriguing part about the hiring of Tim Kelly. We'll get into that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Breaking news.
The Titans are elevating Tim Kelly to the offensive coordinator position, and they have added other coaches to the staff. Charles London as pass game coordinator and the quarterbacks coach. Luke Steckel, the run game analyst. Pat O'Hara is going to be the pass game analyst, and the team will need a running backs coach.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Welcome to Smashville, home of your Nashville Predators. Join us at Bridgestone Arena Monday, February 13th for the Valentine's Day date game and your college night with Austin Peay as your Nashville Predators take on the Arizona Coyotes. Purchase your college night tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/college nights for a Preds and Austin Peay co-branded hat. And don't miss the Thursday and Saturday games against the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers. For your tickets, go to NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds!
Celebrate Nashville's chefs and diverse food scene throughout the month of February with Dine Nashville. Scheduled events include one-of-a-kind chef collaborations throughout the month and Restaurant Week, February 20th through 26th. Reservations and more information can be found at visitmusiccity.com/Dine Nashville.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and in the past, hair loss was inevitable, but now you have a choice for thicker, fuller hair. Trust the experts with 45 years of experience at Hair Club. They've helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair again. No matter your age, stage of hair loss, or budget, Hair Club can customize a solution for you. And for a limited time, you can get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
Social Furniture's tax refund sale is going on now. You will save up to 50% at every department. Huge markdowns. You don't want to miss this opportunity to make your home spectacular. We have everything for your home in stock with no waiting. And hassle-free same-day delivery makes it easy. Pay no money down and pay no interest for 1 full year during Social Furniture's tax refund sale. Don't wait. Come in today. Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. And save, save, save.
Join 102.5 The Game and the Preds Energy Team at 3rd and Home in Germantown this Saturday as your Nashville Predators take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Puck drops at 11:30 a.m. Enjoy game day specials and a chance to win tickets and prizes. Go Preds!
Hi. Who's this?
Buzz. He appears whenever you eat Honey Nut Cheerios.
Like a genie?
Sure.
Ooh, does he grant wishes? I wish I lived in a giant boot. No, I wish I could swim with a humpback whale. No.
I can grant you a delicious bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, which can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
Ooh, with heart shapes, too.
Happy heart-shaped Cheerios are back for a limited time. Pick up a box of Honey Nut Cheerios at your local store for an easy, delicious, and heart-healthy start to your day.
Can't get enough Vanderbilt basketball? Intercept. Join Coach Jerry Stackhouse and his team on their journey through the SEC.
Pull to trigger. Yes, from 3.
Check out Vandy Hoops on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey, this is Pete Weber. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Make sure you tune in later today for Stillman & Company, live from Radio Row, brought to you by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax refund sale. Discussing the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator here on Robby and Rexrode. And, Joe, there was one thing that Vrabel said yesterday in his press conference that caught my eye when I heard it, and the more I've thought about it, the more it kind of ties into a lot of what we've talked about with this Titans offense and specifically Todd Downing last year. Here was a clip from Mike Vrabel yesterday discussing some of the qualities of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think what Tim ultimately was able to do was be able to provide some familiarity and some carryover to what we were doing, because I don't think everything's broken. I don't believe that. But then also be able to, add some things that, can really help us and take advantage of some opportunities. I've seen him, call games in this league against us. Felt like he has a great feel for the game. Going back to even last year, playing with a rookie quarterback and not having much success against us at their place, being able to shift gears and get into empty almost exclusively and, give them a chance to get back in that football game. And, we were able to win. But, I think his feel, his energy, his leadership, all things that came out throughout this process of multiple meetings with him and other candidates.
So that was Mike Vrabel yesterday discussing Tim Kelly. And Joe, in that clip there, he brought up multiple times the feel of the game for Tim Kelly. And how many times did we talk about that with Todd Downing? And we're just, it's something that you can't really describe. It's something that there's no real formula to. You just felt like, I'll go back to Arthur Smith. When Arthur Smith was the offensive coordinator for the Titans, it just felt like he had a great feel for the game. He could, obviously the roster was better, but it just felt like the calls that he made at the right times were really impressive, and that's part of why he got a head coaching job. And I think all of us would agree that there were some questionable parts of that from Todd Downing a year ago. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like for Tim Kelly, but the feel for the game that Vrabel brought up a few times, I mean, that's what, along with having great personnel, which every offensive coordinator is going to need if they're going to be successful, You got to have a good feel for the game, when to make certain play calls, when to not make certain play calls. And Vrabel brought that up multiple times with Tim Kelly. If he's going to be successful as OC, he's going to have that part of it down, the feel for the game.
Yeah, and that's it's more art than science, and I agree. Arthur Smith, you could tell he had that. Like you could tell that in a lot of cases he was basically just a step ahead of the D coordinator he was going against, and you didn't get that feeling nearly enough with Todd Downing. So, and I think that Vrabel bringing that up, that's an indication that's an acknowledgement to me a little bit of Vrabel for something that Downing, wasn't strong in. Now, but I knew this was going to happen today. So first of all, LD from McMinnville, Joe, why would Downing be around if Vrabel switched to Kelly in season? Seems logically would have been fired, not kept around for random assignments. I'll be shocked if Mike Vrabel ever fires an assistant coach in the middle of a season in his entire head coaching career, unless there's like a massive transgression. And I understand Downing at the DUI, but you know what I'm saying? Like, unless there's some like outside of football issue, I think that Vrabel is not wired that way to ever do that. And again, let's say you did that. Okay, so now you are costing yourself someone who does a lot of work for you, and you're putting someone else in the position. But I think the answer, again, is like Vrabel's in the building every day. He's in the meetings every day. He knows what the game planning is. He knows what the play calls are. As Todd Downing fires them off into Ryan Tannehill's helmet. I think the answer here, again, is that Vrabel much more blamed personnel than anything Todd Downing was doing on last season's offensive woes. And I'm not saying that no other OC could have done better, but like some in-season switch to the guy you just brought in to do something different, like how is that going to help? I don't really get the logic on that.
Well, especially when we're talking about making the switch, nobody was clamoring for I shouldn't say nobody, because we had a lot of Titans fans clamoring for the switch after the Giants game last year. But the majority of Titans fans were not clamoring for the switch until later in the season. And by the time you're 10, 12 games in, like you got to keep in mind, they're still in a playoff race, right? Like they were still in first place in their division for a lot of it. And when they weren't, they were still mathematically alive to win the division up until the last game. So very rarely are you going to see a coach really in any sport, but especially the NFL, when you're leading a division or in prime spot for a playoffs, they're probably not making many changes to their coaching staff while that's the case. And that was the case the whole year for the Titans.
Right. And then, of course, the night Downing got the DUI, I think he had a great night as OC in Green Bay. I mean, I think that was one of those nights where you're like, oh, he was a step ahead, of your beloved Packers.
Yes.
And they had some of those special calls, some of those special plays worked and were well placed and well timed, So
in retrospect, maybe being a step ahead of Matt LaFleur's staff is not a great accomplishment, but I hear you.
And then like you said, I mean, then you're in the stretch run. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, and again, it still speaks overall to, I get it. Like, people want this to be that Downing it was all on him, and he was blamed. The OC gets blamed. The OC gets blamed a ton. We've talked about that. It'll always be true in football. Joe from Maryland says, wait, you blaming the woes on personnel only? You think Todd was a good coordinator, would have been fine if he had good personnel? I don't think he's a good coordinator. I'm just saying I put more on personnel than coaching last year. I absolutely do. You're welcome to disagree with me.
Well,
I mean, in 2021, this was a decent offense. It wasn't great. It was a decent offense. The big issue was that the offensive line was starting to erode. And then Lewan gets lost, and, they still find a way to cobble it together. But they took a step back. But, again, they also took a personnel step back.
Well, the biggest question I have now is, all right, we know who the hire is. We know that it's still within the quote-unquote system or the family of Mike Vrabel, whatever you want to call it. How much is going to look different beyond the personnel part of it? Because we all, I think, would agree that that's got to still be the most important part of this offseason is, all right, well, who's on your offensive line? Who are your wide receivers? Things that we've talked about a lot so far this offseason. You got to get those things addressed. Beyond that, how different is this going to look? I mean, it's going to be the same, I think, overall formula, but like we've talked about, they run basically the same offense that the Packers run, that the Niners run, that the Rams run. I mean, you can go up and down the list of teams that run this type of offense in the league. They don't all look the same, but they run the same type of offense. How much different is it going to look with Tim Kelly? What are the ideas that he brings to the table now that he is the OC? And even from Mike Vrabel's standpoint, like given the way that last season went, with all the personnel issues, with the offensive coordinator issues that you had to fire your OC over, how much has Vrabel looked around this offense and said, you know what, I still believe in the overall formula of what we're doing. I still believe of the certain core values I have that I think makes an offense successful and what it takes to win in the league. But here are some things that I'd like to see run a little bit differently next year in the offense. I would be shocked if they don't have some of those things already in mind with Tim Kelly being the hire. It can't be, and I don't think it will be, just, let's go out there and do the same thing and just hope that it works out better next year.
Yeah, like I'm sure they'll have tweaks, but I mean, the answer better be that, the answer really to me should be, let's see what the personnel is. And then you're gonna adjust it to that. Now, I mean, I know I expect Tannehill and Henry back, so I do think that we'll see a lot of the same things. You got to block it. Do you have anybody who will get open? But I agree with you. I mean, you're going to have some tweaks. I mean, to me, it's like, I think next year, regardless of whatever formation you're in or whatever you want to call it, like you need to come up with more ways to get Chigakonko on the field and to get him the ball. Some of that is on him too. But like he's someone who you want to have the ball. That's what it's about. It's about getting the ball in the hands of your playmakers.
Well, and to that
they don't
point,
have enough.
No, they don't have enough. And to that point, we got a texter that said Mike said he wanted the OC to be more creative and not just have certain players in on running plays and certain players in on passing plays. That statement is being overlooked. He did talk about that yesterday, which also caught my attention as well.
Well, agree, and that's another, I think, somewhat acknowledgement that of dissatisfaction with Downing. Also, I think that exactly speaks to Chig, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like Chig, and that's somewhat on Chig. Like he's got to be like Jonnu Smith early in his career. Well, eventually, he got to the point where, okay, he's effective in the run game, and so now it's a problem for people. You got to get to that point with Chig.
615-737-1025. Let's open up our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025. Your thoughts on the hiring of Tim Kelly as Titans offensive coordinator. We'll get into that coming up next. But first, Joe Rexrode has a word from our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook.
I do, and of course, folks, it is a big, big week. As we all know, we're talking about Super Bowl 57. And, with FanDuel Sportsbook, one thing that's really important always to keep in mind is that we want to talk about responsibility. Very important. We all have our system. You're picking the perfect upset, coming through the injury reports. There's one thing that every bettor should include is the responsible gaming tools that are available on FanDuel. These tools help keep your play in check, keep your play under control. These tools include time limits, so you don't unknowingly spend more time on the app than you intended. They include wager limits to help prevent you from betting more than you should. And you can even take a timeout, which pauses your account for as long as you may need. You're talking about America's #1 sports book, easy to use, fast, secure, tons of fun, but also FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be about, along with fun and entertainment, about responsibility. So visit FanDuel.com/playwell and make responsible gaming tools a part of your system. And you must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. If you have a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The big game is finally here, and so are huge savings at Electronic Express. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, Bluetooth speakers, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Score amazing deals in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. This year, the only app you need for the Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Download now and use the promo code JGM so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads and who will score a touchdown. I feel very confident about Travis Kelce as an anytime touchdown scorer in this football game. All on a top-rated sportsbook app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. And best of all, you'll get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel with the promo code JGM to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57 and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 deposit required. Refund issues, non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.sportsbook.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
The college basketball season is heating up, which means it's time for the Wendy's Wooden Watch. You see, in 2002, I was honored to have received the John R. Wooden Player of the Year Award, which is presented to the country's most outstanding men's and women's player, who is also making progress towards earning a degree. This year, players like Drew Timme, Armando Bacot, Aaliyah Boston, and Caitlin Clark are vying for the trophy. So who will take it home? The 2023 John R. Wooden Men's and Women's Player of the Year is presented by Wendy's.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Whew. Pick what you want at a price you want. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6.
For a limited time, price participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. On the card only. Single item at regular price.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Why do challenge flags only exist in football? Think how useful they'd be in real life. Like when you're positive it's not your turn to walk the dog. Challenge flag. The neighbor's kid says it wasn't their ball that dented your car door. Challenge flag. Your friend paid you back, but you definitely don't remember that? Boom. Challenge flag. Imagine settling a disagreement with an instant replay. Why isn't the world like that? I guess it's because it's technically impossible. But it's nice to dream about. You know one thing no one would ever challenge? Protecting your home and auto with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers.
Sometimes he gets lonely and needs some company.
10 for 17 for 45 yards in his career with 1 interception.
This is one of those years where it's a step back for them.
And that'll create more one-on-one situations and make it easier for him to throw the ball down the field.
It's Stillman and Company.
You've got real talent.
With Jared Stillman, weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Wednesday morning. Taking your thoughts on the hiring of Tim Kelly as Titans offensive coordinator. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Lance on the text line says the second half offensive woes was by far the biggest problem last year, and the year before. Fix it in all capital letters. This from Lance on the text line. And, Joe, that is something we talked a lot about. The Titans averaging 7 points or whatever it was in the second half of the games last year. Not good. Something that's going to have to get better as they move forward here. How much of that is on Todd Downing? I don't know. I mean, some of it has to be if you're talking about a consistent second half scoring problem. But whatever the Titans were doing from the first half to the second half, got to get better as they move into next season in terms of, I don't know if it's making adjustments, executing better in the second half, staying healthier in the second half, a combination of all the above. I don't know what it is, but it was bad in the second half last year.
It was terrible. I don't remember that being a huge thing last season, but I mean, a lot of things, I mean, everything was worse in 2022 compared to 2021, basically. Because the thing is, before this last season, one thing that you could kind of count on in the second halves of games was Derrick Henry having big halves and especially big fourth quarters, right? I mean, it wasn't every game, but that was kind of the formula that teams would tire out. And some of those runs that they were clamping down on early he'd start getting loose a little bit more, but that just didn't happen last season at all. And so, no, I mean, of course, I mean, it has to go on down. I love so much that Peyton Manning on one of the Manning casts was like, one of the most overrated things in sports is halftime adjusting. Like you basically go in there, you go to the bathroom, and you have time to go back out on the field, man. Like, get an orange slice, But still, you're constantly adjusting during a game. And for whatever reason, as games went on, things seemed to get worse for the Titans offense. So sure, that's among many things that need to get a lot better with this offense.
Well, it's interesting because they did continue to get worse as games went on for the most part. And the interesting part about that to me is you have Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry for so long in his career has been a guy that seems to get better as the game goes along and seems to have more room opening up for him. And, when you don't have an offensive line that's blocking well and when you don't have a passing game that anybody's afraid of, turns out it's a little bit harder to do that for Derrick Henry as the game wears along.
Yeah, no, right. Yes, so much of, this team's inability to just sustain drives was such a deal. Another thing Vrabel talked about yesterday, and he's right, is that their red zone numbers continued to be strong. Last year, when we asked about Downing's job, which I did think was potentially up for serious scrutiny after the playoff game, Tannehill, culprit one, but I think Downing was right after him. And, Vrabel immediately – Vrabel basically told us, he's not losing his job. But he immediately brought up red zone, third down. Situational football was very good. Those numbers were very good in Downing's first year as OC. The red zone – it was still good last year, but they were so just overall inept and unable to sustain drives that like you say, you can't tire out defenses if you go 3 and out, and you can't do a lot of the things. You can't move between the 20s to get into the red zone nearly enough.
Raymond on the text line says, this team has regressed. We've not won a playoff game in a few years. You're firing coordinators and a GM, and after another season, you're looking at a big rebuild. Is this a make-or-break year for Vrabel? This from Raymond on the text line. What do you think of that, Joe?
Well, I would say, so let's say that they go in and it's Tannehill, it's Henry, it's Henry. It's basically the same offense, and then they try to fix the offensive line, they try to fix the receivers, and they have a bad year. Then I think certainly the public pressure on Vrabel absolutely increases. Could that also be the case with Amy Adams Strong? I think it could be. But I also look at everything, including, I think Vrabel certainly has more power in personnel decisions. Again, she gave 2 5-year extensions.
Right.
One of them she immediately blew up, but is she going to blow up the other one after 2 years? I mean, anything's on the table. I absolutely think from a public standpoint, if they're bad next year trying to run this back and it just is blood and yuck, just a hard to watch product next year, then we may be entering a little bit of a time period kind of like the Preds are in, where the fans are screaming about Poyle and Hines, but they're not necessarily on an actual hot seat. That's just a guess.
Well, but particularly with the offense, right? So if the offense comes out next year and it's just bad, you're going to have Titans fans saying, all right, well, you've hired internally 3 consecutive times with the OC job. One of them worked out really well in Arthur Smith. The other one did not in Todd Downing. And if they go through a year next year where it's not good with Tim Kelly, people are going to say, Vrabel's too stubborn. He won't go outside the organization and make an offensive coordinator hire, and that's going to end up being his downfall with the Titans. I don't know whether or not it's necessarily fair. People are already saying that with the hiring of Tim Kelly. We don't even know what it's going to look like yet. It'll be really loud if the offense struggles next year on that front.
Yeah, for sure. And that's fair. I mean, I think you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose 7 straight games. You don't want to blow a division title like the Titans did. But another thing in this sport is you don't want to lose and be boring and hard to watch. Like if you're losing a bunch of 38, 35 games, I just think that's just a lot more, I guess acceptable for fans. But then again, I say that, and 2 years ago, the Titans were 3rd in the league in total offense, and they were 4th in the league in scoring. They were one of the best offenses in all of football. Well, what were we talking about? What the heck, Vrabel? Who's your DC? Why can't you ever get a 3rd down stop, right? So, but I do still think that it's worse. It's like if you don't have entertainment for people, that even adds another layer of discontent.
We'll have a lot to get into on the Tim Kelly front today. We'll get back into it every single hour on the show here today. So we'll welcome your thoughts on the hiring of Tim Kelly and the other offensive staff changes and defensive staff changes that the Titans have made. 615-737-1025 on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll have more on Tim Kelly coming up in the next hour. Coming up next, we'll get into the Predators and a stinker of a game last night for the Nashville Predators against the Vegas Golden Knights. That's coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You love the game.
The Doors on the board. Touchdown at TSU.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense,
he can make some plays and take that next step. We are
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The Australian Pink Floyd Show, Dark Side 50 Tour. September 3rd, First Bank Amphitheater, performing Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety. Plus favorites from Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall, Metal, Relics, and more. Tickets on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at LiveNation.com. The Australian Pink Floyd Show, Dark Side 50 Tour. Part of the Farm Bureau Concert Series.
Want to be the real hero this Valentine's? Genesis Diamonds makes it easy with the Total Romance Package. It's the jewelry, the flowers, the candy, and the dinner out. All the key ingredients for a memorable Valentine's celebration. Here's how it works. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you some gourmet chocolates, a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward dinner at STK Steakhouse. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas for the occasion. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. And of course, if you're thinking of getting engaged this Valentine's, Genesis can create the ring of her dreams with our dazzling GIA diamonds and designer mountings. Unlimited possibilities. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis Diamonds. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolate, and gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
Bart Starr didn't play much his senior season at Alabama after a coaching change left most seniors on the bench. That didn't stop the Green Bay Packers from taking a chance on Starr, drafting him in the 17th round of the 1956 NFL Draft. The gamble paid off. Starr went on to a Hall of Fame career with 5 NFL championships, as well as winning the first 2 Super Bowls in NFL history, winning the MVP of both.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
When there's a chance for a championship trophy, you need to have the right people in the right positions. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 875 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most qualified candidates, which means you can start hiring the right people faster. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
The college basketball season is heating up, which means it's time for the Wendy's Wooden Watch. You see, in 2002, I was honored to have received the John R. Wooden Player of the Year Award, which is presented to the country's most outstanding men's and women's player, who is also making progress towards earning a degree. This year, players like Drew Timme, Armando Bacot, Aaliyah Boston, and Caitlin Clark are vying for the trophy. So who will take it home? The 2023 John R. Wooden Men's and Women's Player of the Year is presented by Wendy's.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Whew. Pick what you want at a price you want. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6. For a limited time, price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. On the card only. Single item at regular price.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Titans named Tim Kelly their new offensive coordinator and Charles London their pass game and QB coach. Yesterday, Mike Vrabel spoke on the hires.
Yeah, I think what Tim ultimately was able to do was be able to provide some familiarity and some carryover to what we were doing, because I don't think everything's broken. I don't believe that. But then also be able to, add some things that, can really help us and take advantage of some opportunities. I've seen him, call games in this league against us. Felt like he has a great feel for the game.
The Nashville Predators fell to the Vegas Golden Knights 5-1 in Bridgestone on Tuesday, and LeBron James passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar by breaking the NBA all-time scoring record. Tonight, Vanderbilt will host the Tennessee Vols in Memorial. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. This report is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5-106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 1063.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Wednesday morning. We'll have Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. So looking forward to that. We will get back into that discussion coming up at 7:30 on the program here today. So looking forward to that as well. Joe, the Predators in action for the first time last night off of their bye week / all-star break. And one of the questions that we asked heading into the game last night was, all righty, they had won 3 games in a row. They'd won 5 of 6 heading into the break. Is the break a good thing? Was the break a bad thing? Did it come at a good time? Did it come at a bad time? Players yesterday morning at morning skate seemed to think it came at a good time just based on, the mental and physical grind of the schedule that was taking place before then. The evidence on the other side would suggest otherwise. An absolute clunker for the Predators last night. A big game against Vegas, and they fall 5-1 at home. They did score the first goal of the game. Matt Duchene scored to go up 1-0. And really, other than that, it was a total disaster last night for the Predators. They finished the game with 17 shots on goal, which is a very low number. And, Joe, they had 6 shots on goal after 2 periods of play last night, which I don't recall ever seeing before. I'm sure that I have. I just don't recall ever seeing anything like that. 6 shots on goal after 2 periods of play last night. Roman Josi discussed the game last night and just the thought on this performance coming out of the break and the bye week. Here's what Roman Josi had to say after the game last night.
Just kind of leave you scratching your head a little bit, Roman, after you guys have been playing so well in the 3 games going into them, right?
Yeah,
it's disappointing, obviously. Like I said before, it just wasn't a good game, and I think from start to finish, we just need to play better, and it's definitely disappointing because I feel like we gained some momentum. We played well, but we don't have time to wait around and see where things go. We got to get some points, so obviously we got to look at this one, but we got to look forward after that, and every game is huge.
So, Joe, obviously that's about as bad of a start out of the break as you could draw up for the Predators last night. What did you make of their performance, and what did that tell you about exactly where this team is last night following the 5-1 loss to the Vegas Golden Knights?
Yeah, they get you that quick point, and Preds pick to click and then take the rest of the night off.
Yeah,
so,
they did.
Real nice there. No, it was seriously like, for anybody who's ever gone to like Pee Wee hockey games, there's a lot of shots that don't actually become shots on goal. It was amazing, man. Because they actually had like shot attempts was, like a normal number. Like they couldn't get shots on net. It took a huge run of 11 shots in the third period to finish with 17. But apart from that, and Yossi also, in his comments last night, he rightfully took the blame for basically giving the Golden Knights a couple early ones. And
yep.
The Preds were just, and in particular, Yossi with critical mistakes. It was just a bad performance. And I know someone tweeted at me last night about how like this is what they always do after the extended break. I don't recall if that's true or not. But I agree with what John Hines said after the game, which is, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Everybody's on a big break. I know Duchesne mentioned after the game that, that they had less of a break than the Preds did. But okay. Actually, do we have the Duchesne sound?
We can get that for you here in just a few minutes. But frankly, I'm kind of tired of that stuff. Like, there's always some excuse with this group. And it's ridiculous. Like there is no excuse for coming out last night and playing the way that they did. They had 53 shot attempts last night and got 17 of them on goal. 53 shot attempts last night and got 17 on goal. I get
Hard
it.
To do.
It's one game. I understand that. And look, they're going to get 3 days in a row here of practice, I would assume. And maybe they're a little bit more dialed in / got their sights adjusted heading into the game on Saturday against Philadelphia. But it just kind of always feels like there's some underlying excuse with this group, and it's ridiculous. There's no excuse for what we saw last night.
Oh, no. Oh, there's no excuse. It was bad hockey, and, it's like, look, all those questions that John Glennon was asking about, you guys sure you want to break right now? No, there's no choice there, but you have to figure out a way to come out and be ready to play. I will say it seemed last night like early, it seemed fine. They had energy, as you would expect. Huge game. The crowd was good. It's the Golden Knights. This is a as you like to call them, this is a 4-point game. The team you're trying to battle with for a playoff spot. You score the first goal. It's a classic, Duchesne from the right circle, and everything seems like it's going fine. Then you make a couple mistakes that end up in the back of your net, and it's like everything just disappeared. It's like you lost all all of your intensity and energy, which again, like there's zero. Speaking of no excuse, how could that be the case? Like, how could that be the reaction? But that's what it looked like.
Yeah,
it just looked like just skating around the ice. Preds on ice. It was a pretty discouraging performance to come back from with.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Bob from Antioch, who wants to weigh in. Bob, thanks for calling in. Appreciate you. Go ahead.
Good morning, guys. I'm going to avoid talking about the evident lack of effort. To me, I'm going to see what you guys think about it. I've thought for a while that their talent level is not what we're sort of being told that it is. I think a lot of their guys are past their prime, and I just don't think that the talent level is is good enough. And I wanted to see how you guys felt about that.
Hey, thanks for the call, Bob. I mean, I think that's the crux of where they're at right now, Joe, is figuring that out. We talked about this yesterday with Saros, right? Like, he's in the conversation for the Vezina Trophy. And, obviously they gave up 5 last night. Now, one of them's an empty netter, but I did think he made a couple of the saves last night where you're just like, geez, all right, that sounds good. He still looks pretty good out there. That game could have been 6 or 7-1 last night. So how good is the team? I mean, that's what we've been trying to figure out. How good is that? How good is this team really? You got an elite goalie. You have players last year who set all sorts of individual and franchise records, and you were the last team to get in the playoffs in the Western Conference. And this year you have a goalie once again that's in the conversation for the Vezina Trophy, and right now you're out of the playoffs. And we talked about how big of a game that was last night from the Vegas point of view. Number one, the Pacific Division is just insanely close to each other, and it's going to be that way all year long. But if you win that game in regulation last night, if you're the Predators, all of a sudden you're only 6 points back of Vegas, and you got 3 games in hand on them. Well, now that you've lost, you're 10 points back of Vegas. I mean, it's a huge swing last night when it comes to chasing down that team specifically. And, yeah, the point that Bob brings up there, Joe, is I think the crux of what everybody's actually trying to discover about this team and what it means for the path they're about to take.
Right. And it's just like we talked about with the meeting, the meeting discussion. It's like, good, good for you. You had an honest, raw meeting. There were some important things said. We saw some response from people, right? Some people who were directly, involved in the discussions and who have needed to play better all year. But if you need to, it's like the old Reebok pumps, Now let me date myself again. If you need to pump it up to a certain point, it's not going to stay there, right? Eventually the air's going to go out. The talent level is such that you have to bring it at a higher level in this league, or this team isn't good enough. And I agree. There are too many people past their prime. There are too many veteran players on this team who on a lot of nights, to me, just aren't making the impact you expect. And I think it's, again, I'm not saying that you don't look at, effort, intensity, desire, all that stuff. But I mean, to me, it's like they have to be extra because the talent level isn't what some people have said it is or think it is. And again, I'll raise my hand on that too. I thought this team was absolutely better than it is right now.
Well, the bottom line is,
I just, I think it's going to be ups and downs all the way. And my question is, are they going to really hang in this race?
Well, the bottom line is, I agree with everything you just said there. If you're being realistic about it, you can't do that every night. Like you cannot manufacture that sort of, I don't know if it's work ethic is the right word, or going above and beyond every night in an 82-game season. It's too much. It can't just be about the work. It can't just be about the effort level. The meeting part of this, it's a thing we talked about in the aftermath of it. That's great. All right, cool. They responded good. You beat LA the night, the game after the meeting. 2 impressive wins against Winnipeg and Jersey to close things out. All that's great. But at some point, the meeting part of it's gonna fade, and you can't just be having meetings every 2 days. Eventually, that loses its luster a little bit.
They needed an in-game meeting last night. That might have made all the difference. But you're right. I also say at this point, the position they've put themselves in, they better be a desperate team every night. That's right. I mean, it's their only chance with the hole that they've dug now.
No question about it. 615-737-1025. We'll continue the conversation on the Predators, including some comments from Matt Duchene in the locker room after the game last night. We'll get into those coming up next. Let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. This year, the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Download FanDuel now and use promo code ROB so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. I've been consistent on the Eagles all week long. I feel good about it. I feel good about Jalen Hurts as an anytime touchdown scorer running the ball as well. But you take it any way you want to take it, all on a top-rated sportsbook app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today with promo code ROB to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Valentine's Day should be a day to look forward to, unless you have erectile dysfunction. Don't ruin this Valentine's for you and your special someone. It's time to get the solution you want, not depend on the pills. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. Are you ready to make Valentine's great again and get the results you want in the bedroom? Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and blood flow analysis, totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Hey, it's Jared with my friends at Hiller. Kick off the new year with new upgrades for your home. This month, when you buy something you need for your home, Hiller will give you something you want. Pick your prize. Get a free 55-inch TV, Apple iPad, Solo Stove, or Nintendo Switch when you purchase new whole home generators or select new HVAC systems. Or a free 55-inch TV, Nintendo Switch, or Solo Stove when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater. There's no better time to take care of necessary home replacements, so call Hiller. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and go farther and faster with the new G430 woods and irons from Ping. The Ping G430 woods introduce the next generation of speed with new face technology for longer and more accurate shots. The new Ping G430 irons are designed with pure flex technology for faster ball speed and more distance. Swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit on the new Ping G430 woods and irons today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Hi.
Who's this?
Buzz. He appears whenever you eat Honey Nut Cheerios.
Like a genie?
Sure.
Ooh, does he grant wishes? I wish I lived in a giant boot. No, I wish I could swim with a humpback whale. No.
I can grant you a delicious bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, which can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
Ooh, with heart shapes, too.
Happy heart-shaped Cheerios are back for a limited time. Pick up a box of Honey Nut Cheerios at your local store for an easy, delicious, and heart-healthy start to your day.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Preds fans, if you want to win tickets in our Laurel Bowl Section 102, just text the keyword Superbook, all one word. Once again, that's Superbook, all one word, to the game text line at 615-737-1025, and you'll be entered for your chance to win. You can win with 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and you can win with Superbook. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Preds lose last night 5-1 at the hands of the Vegas Golden Knights in a big game last night for the Predators, and it does not go well. 17 shots on goal, only 6 shots on goal after the first 2 periods of play last night. And Matt Duchene discussed the performance of the Predators last night after the game down in the Predators locker room. Here's what Predators forward Matt Duchene had to say after the game last night.
kind of left scratching your head a little bit, Matt, after you guys have been playing so well going into the break?
No, not at all. Just, we got what we deserved tonight, and 12 days off, it's tough to find it again, and sometimes, and like I just said, it's usually the team that's with the least rest that comes out, and we kind of gave them a chance to feel good. Just, there were some tough breaks. I mean, the first goal against, the guy fans on the shot, the guy fans on his pass to that guy. Second one, puck rolls on Yost, guy gets a breakaway. Third one, kind of similar play. So, but again, despite the tough breaks offensively and defensively, we didn't play well enough. We didn't get enough shots through. We took a lot of shots and they didn't get through. I mean, having 8-10 shots after 2 periods isn't good enough, and I thought, our decisions were better in the second and third period, but, you gotta get pucks through at the end of the day or keep possession until you can break them down. They did a great job, crowding the house and blocking shots. So, it's disappointing, but the 3 days here, we'll be ready for Philly. I know this team is hungry, and maybe losing this one's the best thing that could have happened with how we played tonight so that we get back into gear.
So that was Matt Duchene after the game, and I will give that guy a lot of credit, Joe. He is the most optimistic human being I think I've ever been around in my entire life.
As we left, I was like, might be the best thing for me that I just got hit with a truck and I lost my leg. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, like whatever may happen, Matt Duchene will find the positive. That
it's a great quality to have.
It is, like in your daily life, if you can find the positive in whatever may happen, I tell you what, that is absolutely a superpower. I mean, I remember how mad people were. Yeah, I look at it a little differently now when you go back to the bubble, because I mean, he got, and I mean, all of us were just like, what? Because basically, to paraphrase, he's like, yeah, our game really got better. I really liked we really, like, after they lost in 4 games to Arizona, and it was like, what? And then of course last year you got the Preds are, the Avs remind me of like we're can be like the Avs in a couple of years type thing. And it's like, nah, not sure I'm seeing that there, pal. But so that's the thing. That is who he is. He is eternally optimistic, looking for so I think it's more the absolute relentless optimism than excuse making. But I mean, to come out of that game and be like, this might be the best thing for us is just, man, it's a take.
It's a take. Now, look, he also talked about a couple of weeks ago, I think the phrase that he used was maybe the St. Louis game was a blessing in disguise when he started talking about the meeting and everything that happened after that. So I get what he's saying. I get what he's trying to say. And like you said, he is the optimist. But the problem with that, Joe, is there's really not a loss that could be the best thing for you right now just based on where you are in the standings, right? Like we've talked about the margin for error that this team has, and it's not a lot just based on the way that you've kind of dug a hole for yourselves here. I mean, again, I'm going by the numbers on the playoff odds and all that. They're at 31% yesterday. You lost that game, they're down to 23. I mean, it took a pretty big hit yesterday. So that's where you're at in the standings right now. The odds would tell you don't have a very good chance to make the playoffs. So each loss, especially losses in regulation at home against teams that you're competing with for a playoff spot, are an absolute gut punch, and that was a bad one for the Predators yesterday.
Yeah, and again, it's like how many? Oh, this will be the kick in pants we need, or here's another meeting or whatever. Like, how many of those can you how many of those do you need? How many of those are really relevant? I mean, again, I think the overall story of this team is that it's not good enough. At this point, it's going to take a heck of a run. At this point, we got a pretty good. What are we talking? 50? Is it 49 games of evidence?
That is correct.
Yeah, it's not a playoff team. It's not a playoff caliber team. Is it still in position to change that? Yeah, but for the most part, there's some things that have been pretty consistent, including a lot of players who were counted on to do more who haven't done enough, and of course the power play, which by the way, it was a couple. There was just one doozy of a power play last night. I mean, And again, that's where, and we've seen it before, certainly with the Preds, a totally different, season and everything. But I feel like when you get to a certain point of struggling with that, I feel like it's like so hard to overcome that mentally and execute sharply the way you should be. And I just don't expect it to get that much better.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Rob from Franklin. Rob, thanks for calling in. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, boys. So listening to Duchesne's quote, it harkens me back to Monty Python, and it's merely just a flesh wound. So we just got our leg. How apropos, right? Because it was Vegas Golden Knights hacking our leg off there. Is thou shalt not pass. Well, we passed. They passed. They went through. Nice. They went through us like a knife through butter, and we had 12 shots after 2 periods. Well, I'm glad that Duchesne and Johansson had some fun in the Bahamas or wherever they were, but they came back with a log in their legs, and it was just horrible. And so, just one, that is my analogy of the day. They were awful. They were slow. They were non-motivated. And this is, guess what, guys? We're paying $100 to $200 a ticket to watch that. I'd rather go watch 16U hockey, AA, that is motivated. So, as we move into this structure of Poyle, and oh my gosh, he's been here since 1997, 98, and he's so successful. How about this? How about structuring a contract that looks like Duchesne's, where it's actually the one thing he did right is he structured it high end and then low end. What I mean by that is it's loaded. It was loaded in the beginning, and it's not as much in the end. So if we could get rid of him for some type of draft pick, because he is the person that is not motivated. He skates some days, he doesn't skate others, and it's horrible to watch.
Hey, thanks for the call, Rob. I mean, the Duchesne part of this, I mean, the trade protection that kicks in towards the end of the contract, I mean, his salary does come down, but the problem is, Joe, his cap hit doesn't, right? I mean, that's ultimately what really matters is if you're trying to move somebody, the cap hit is the main thing, right? Like if your cap hit is $8 million, especially right now with the way the NHL is set up with their salary cap, I mean, you're not going to find anybody that's taking that Matt Duchesne contract. I'd be shocked.
No. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and like Johansson with a shorter term. I mean, if he were playing better, but no, I mean, and that's the thing. Poyle obviously for forever was able to resist all the NMC stuff, and some, it's kind of been broken down recently, I guess, right? Is that because it's just more the way of the league, or is it just that, he's been in situations where he's had to relent on that?
I think he's been in situations where he's had to relent on it. Like Yossi, I think you had to do it. I think Forsberg, you probably had to do it. I mean, Duchesne's is a modified one, but again,
right.
Like it's not a full no movement. You could trade him, but again, it's more about the cap hit now with him. Like it's his age and the cap hit. It's probably not going to happen, would be my guess. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll get back into the hiring of Tim Kelly as Titans offensive coordinator. We'll also take a look at some of the other changes that the Titans made on the offensive staff and on the defensive staffs as well, and get Rexrode's thoughts on that. That's all next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
When you want all the...
Going in and the score. Blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the...
Oh, what a stop. Sliding across to make the save. Backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is Smashville. We have you covered. Hear every Predators game right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
You could save big when you bundle your home, auto, and other vehicles with Progressive. Now that we've covered something you could do, it's time for sports stuff you definitely could not do.
You could not have turned that double play. If you think you could dive, then spin, then launch a perfect throw 120 feet, you must be forgetting that you get dizzy when you stand up too fast sometimes. If you tried to throw that hard, that would be the last thing you did with your arm before shoulder surgery.
But you definitely could save big when you bundle your home, auto, and other vehicles with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
This year, the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Download FanDuel now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So join FanDuel today with promo code PLAY to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's promo code PLAY. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets, which expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksggamblinghelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia.
When you want live and local,
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
they've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Yeah, Mike, with Tim already on staff last season, did you consider expanding his role in this way previously, either before the season, during it at some point, and a couple of years ago, did you make an attempt to kind of reach out and talk to him for that then?
There's I have to make decisions, Gentry, and I don't know if during the season anything really would have mattered. I really don't. And I think that what I'm focused on is where we go, from here, where we're able to grow, where we're able to find a way to protect our quarterback, find a way to continue to drive the football, have less non-efficient plays and runs, and be able to convert third downs, score touchdowns, get to the red zone more often. I stand behind what we do in the red zone. We just got to get down there more often, and so, I've met with Tim, he was under contract in Houston. So, when we were able to add him, we added him in some capacity.
That was Mike Vrabel yesterday discussing the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator by the Tennessee Titans. We're taking your thoughts all show long, 615-737-1025. Speaking of that, I got a 4-pack of wristbands to give away to the 50th Annual National Wild Turkey Federation Convention at Opryland coming up on Wednesday, February 16th through Friday, February the 18th. Be caller number 5 at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a 4-pack of wristbands to the 50th Annual National Wild Turkey Federation Convention at Opryland next Wednesday, February 16th through Friday, February 18th. 615-737-1025. So, Joe, what did you make of Vrabel's comments there on his interest in Tim Kelly, whether or not he considered that previously before making the move now, and his comments on the red zone offense for the Titans as well?
Yeah, well, again, that was a year ago, sort of what he presented in defense of Todd Downing when he pretty much made it clear right after the the playoff game, the playoff loss to Cincinnati, that, well, really, he made it clear that Downing would be back and that Tannehill would be back. You got to be great around Tannehill was the quote that we all remember from that presser. But also he talked about third down and red zones, the situational numbers with Downing, and of course everything got worse this year. But as far as the idea, and I think it was a good question, by Gentry. There was a lot of questions yesterday that, like, Vrabel wouldn't really answer a lot of stuff about Tim Kelly, just like with Jim Schwartz, very kind of vague generalities about these things. Not a big fan of, basically asking about or answering questions about, I guess, people in like support roles, right? So now that you hired him as OC, okay, so what did he do? What did he do here? And also that question, which is fair. I get the question. Like, did you consider, putting him in a different role? And I understand that it has happened before where like a coordinator will like lose their jobs in the middle of a season and then someone else will get plugged in. I mean, typically that's done by, I bet you 99% of those situations, those moves are made by a coach, either with pressure of the owner in pro sports or the AD in college sports, who's on the verge of being fired himself, right? It wasn't to me, there's really very little logic and reason in making a move like that. It's like, if this is nothing but just calling plays, okay, then that's one thing, but it's not that. There's a ton of work that goes into being an OC, a ton of different aspects of the job. So I don't see why that would have been a good move. And Vrabel kind of said it. I mean, he said, like, I don't think it would have made a difference, to paraphrase him. And what he's saying in a lot of his comments yesterday and a lot of his comments all last season, and you can call it excuse making if you want, but frankly, I'm completely on board with it. What he's saying is that the players weren't good enough. That they couldn't find answers because they couldn't block people and they couldn't get open. And that doesn't excuse Downing and some of the stuff he did as OC. He wasn't good, but like making some switch in season, to me, would not have been some magical potion or some huge enhancement to what they were doing. They were in a bad spot last season.
So what do you make of some of the other moves that the Titans have made here with guys that were already on their staff? So Luke Steckel, as we know, got interviewed by the Chargers for their OC spot. He was the tight ends coach. He's now the run game analyst. Tony Dews, who has been the running backs coach, is now the tight ends coach. So kind of flipping things around there. Pat O'Hara was the quarterback coach, and now he's the pass game analyst. So some of these titles coming in. Just people that have been on the staff for the Titans on the offensive side of the ball that are now in different roles with different titles. What do you make of what the Titans have done on that from that standpoint?
Yeah, well, first of all, that's one thing we haven't talked about is they did bring in a new voice, Coach Charles London, who was QB coach for the Falcons last year. Now, like Kelly, and some people really don't like this. We're going to have Kaharski on, and he asked a question yesterday about using the word insular, about Vrabel's hires. Charles London was with Vrabel in Houston too, so there is a link there. There's the trust there, there's the relationship there. People don't like this when the coach who's making the hire has lost 7 straight games. I get that, but it's still someone who was with the Falcons. Prior to that, he's with the Bears. Those are the 2 stops he had after the Titans. So now he's also got the pass game coordinator title. Again, let's remember the phrase agent crap. Okay, he's a QB coach. He's coming in to be the QB coach. I have to look at that as a demotion for Pat O'Hara. Pat O'Hara is now, God, I don't have it in front of me. What is he? Is he pass game analyst?
Pass game analyst.
Yes. Okay. And Luke Steckel, who just interviewed to be the Chargers OC, is run game analyst and is no longer coaching tight end. So I have to look at both of those as demotions. Now, if you're Mike Vrabel and you can retain those guys who you obviously trusted, have had on your staff, and then you can add people, then in theory that strengthens you, right? But I mean, my question for an O'Hara and a Steckel is like, how do those guys feel about this? I mean, I wouldn't think they'd feel great about it. So, and then, I mean, to me, the move that makes that screams Amy Adams Strunk on these firings. Okay, and I'm not saying I know this beyond a shadow of a doubt. When you fire Keith Carter as your O-line coach, and then you and then you hire his O-line assistant.
Yep.
I mean, to me, that kind of sounds like Mike Vrabel was told you need to fire some people. I don't know if he was told. I don't know if he was told that. I don't know if he was told you need to fire these specific people. I would think with Downing, that would probably be the case. Again, maybe he was going to do it anyway. Okay. But Jason Hotailing, and I asked Vrabel about this yesterday, kind of like, okay, so you fire the O-line. It's like we talk about like with Barry Trotz, It's like, okay, so we need to move on from you, but we're going to hire your protege who believes in everything you do. And like, huh?
Right.
Like, did you want a new direction or not? I'm just saying, it's like whenever that happens, there's always the possibility that Keith Carter, personally, there was just some issue with him or something, They didn't think he was reaching the players or whatever. But a lot of this does speak to Vrabel thinking, as he said clearly, that things aren't, quote, broken. So I thought that was the one that really spoke to maybe the idea that, maybe Vrabel was encouraged to make some moves. Another one with Tony Dews, he goes from running backs coach to tight ends coach. The Titans still need to hire a running backs coach. For Tony Dews, you have a lot more looks, I think, just like Vrabel has hired tight ends coaches to be OC, if you're a tight ends coach in this league than if you're a running backs coach in this league, in terms of possibly being an OC. Tight ends coach, we've talked about it. You're involved in the run game and the pass game now. I guess you are with the running backs too, but you know what I mean? It's different. Yeah. Like you're heavily involved, in the offense, especially an offense like this. So for him, that's a good outcome. And gives him more of a possibility to possibly get an OC look at some point.
Well, one of the things that Vrabel talked about yesterday, as far as the offensive line was concerned, was talking about developing players. And he talked about how just because a player shows up here one way, we don't care how they get here. We care what you do once you get here. And it's talking about how they've got to do a better job at developing their players. Now, was that a veiled shot at Keith Carter? I don't know, but obviously, when you start to think about some of the offensive linemen that they've either drafted or gone out and signed over the course of the past couple of years, it has not gone overly well for the Titans at this point. Now, you could easily just say, well, yeah, you're picking bad offensive linemen where you're either drafting those guys or you're signing them. But Vrabel did talk about you got to find a way to develop some of these guys too, which the Titans really have not done for the most part over the past couple of years.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. It could be that Vrabel just didn't feel like Keith Carter's job performance was up to snuff. Keith Carter in his time with the Titans, when they had Note Lawan and Nate Davis was a struggling rookie and Roger Saffold was a struggling early free agent, and Conklin was still coming off a knee and all this stuff. He was the worst. We had a certain afternoon host on our station who was absolutely, he must be fired.
Yep.
And all of a sudden later that year and the whole next year, it's like, wow, Keith Carter, this guy is making magic, it's as people get healthier and people get better and all that. I feel like he got some players better in his time. I don't know what you do with Dennis Daly as your left tackle, you know? I don't know what you do. Now, Nate Davis, this is where it also – you can look at just about all these players and say, well, if that guy was healthy, then, so I don't know. But it is interesting. And of course, also Vrabel in that question said it was one of the best interviews he's had in 5 years as a coach when he talked about Hotailing. So there you go.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. We'll do that next. Make sure you join 102.5, 106.3 The Game this Saturday at 3rd and Home, located at 919 3rd Avenue North in Germantown, for a Preds watch party as the Preds take on the Philadelphia Flyers at 11:30 a.m. Come watch the game, get some Preds swag, and also enter for a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. That's coming up on Saturday as the Predators take on the Philadelphia Flyers. The Rex Rant coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey folks, it's Joe Rexrode here for FanDuel Sportsbook, and this is the only app you need at your Super Bowl party. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. You download FanDuel now and use promo code Joe102. You can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. This means you'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. FanDuel, of course, lets you bet on everything from moneyline point spreads, who's going to score a touchdown, any player props. You can also combine them for a same-game parlay. If I was looking at this Super Bowl, one thing that I feel good about Jalen Hurts over on rushing yards. That's the game prop the player prop in this game that I like. This is all, of course, on a top-rated sportsbook app, safe, secure, very important for me, super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today with promo code Joe102. Claim that no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and you must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online room and wager only, $10 deposit required. Refund issued as now withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Signs First, Nashville's trusted vehicle wrap and graphics one-stop shop. From one-off custom applications to entire company fleets, Signs First delivers superior quality both locally and nationally since 1991. Be creative. Get noticed. Signs First. Go to sfnash.com.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark at Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Hotel. Looking for a romantic dinner with that special someone? Be sure to join us and try one of our signature dishes, like our Australian cold water lobster tail, flash fried to perfection, and tossed in lemon butter. Did I also mention we've won the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence 7 consecutive years? Come join us for a memorable meal here at Omni and be sure to ask for Chef Mark.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a karate teacher to trim their hedges.
Hey-ya! Man, these shrubs are not made of plywood. Don't worry, another few chops should do it. Yeah! Nope! Yeah! Dang!
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Oh, this treehouse looks like particle board. Yeah! There we go. I'm starting to doubt myself.
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
And it is that time of the day, time for the Rex Rant here on Robby and Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. Joe Rexrode, the floor is yours. I turn things over to you.
Well, today I told myself, you know what I'm going to do is it's almost like like you spin the wheel, and you just put your finger on it.
Sure.
And just okay. So I knew that today that the text line was going to be popping, and I knew that it would probably piss me off a fair amount. And again, not because someone on there was like, "Oh, we cannot question Vrabel's divinity." Again, I don't think that's true at all. Coach loses 7 straight games. This offense was utterly awful to watch. It's totally fair to question him, and I don't know if this will work out. But I told myself, whatever's on the text line at the time of your rant, you go ahead and hit that, and I bet you it's a pretty good discussion. So let's go there. Actually, a couple. First of all, this is a little bit of a side, remark, but Mike says, if Vrabel says making an offensive coordinator change in the middle of the season wouldn't have made much of a difference, why did he make a quarterback change from Mariota to Tannehill during the season? Granted, Mariota had some injury issues, but make no mistake, he was benched for Tannehill. Yeah, he was benched for Tannehill. And my response in the text line was, you don't see the difference between coaching and playing? I mean, the player benching is totally different than hey, let's take this support staffer who doesn't even coach a position and come in and now you're the new coordinator of something. Like, again, I think some of this is like, I think, obviously the part of the OC that we see is the front-facing game day calling plays. Like, it's not just that, right?
Sure.
You're completely changing your entire operation if you do that. And that would also say that Todd Downing, it's like Todd Downing was just going rogue, going in there like, hey, I'm going to call some crappy plays and run into the line. Again, Vrabel's there for the game planning. He's there for practice. He knows what they're going to do. He knows what all the plays are that are in the playbook for a particular game. He knows what the game plan is. He may not know the exact sequence. That's on Todd Downing, to make those decisions during the game. But like the OC is not like some independent agent out here just calling random plays. Like, they are all working on this together, and they sucked, and they mostly sucked because their players sucked. That said, Adam in Portland on the text line. Vrabel's answer, I don't think it was that bad, tells me everything I need to know. Friend of the show, Adam in Portland, a frequent caller. Okay, now back to Adam in Portland. Okay, let me read Adam in Portland again. Vrabel's answer, I don't think it was that bad, tells me everything I need to know. I stopped listening at that point. Settle in, boys. More tight end, screen fake to the left, and tight end throw screen to the right for a 2-yard gain, because Vrabel doesn't think it was that bad. Again, man, rip Vrabel left and right. Take away his Paul Malls, whatever you want to do. But do you think that Mike Vrabel enjoyed last season? Like, do you think he wasn't looking for answers himself? I mean, I think the thing is, I think sometimes people don't want to put enough on him because, again, this is his offense. This is his team. This is his offensive coordinator calling plays that he knows about, and he knows about the game plans. But also, like, do you think that Vrabel is just out here to, just hang out with his buddies and laugh as everybody gets pissed off when they score 11 points a game? Mike Vrabel's offense, game planning, play calling, team, everything, 2 years ago was the exact same offense and one of the absolute best in the NFL. You could argue it was the best offense in the NFL. Basically the Chiefs, and then you could put the Titans right after them 2 years ago. So do you think that Vrabel likes this crap or just wants to hire his friends or isn't trying to find answers right now? I don't know if he'll find them. If he doesn't, he should be on the hot seat. If this hire's bad, he should be on the hot seat. But, do you really think that he isn't just as angry about all this and sick of it as you are? That's my question.
Well, it's a good question. Look, I think deep down we know the answer to that, right? Like, we know that Vrabel, as much as anybody else, wants to get this fixed and move. Now, I will say, look, I fully believe that Vrabel believes that Tim Kelly is the right person for the job right now, otherwise he wouldn't have made the hire. Now, is he the right person for the job right now because nobody else wants the job right now, or is the right person for the job right now because he's who the Titans and Vrabel have wanted all along? I don't know, and I'm with you when it comes to the fact that I think he's trying to do what's in the best interest of the offense and trying to get this offense as productive as possible. I agree with all that. Now, having said that, like or not, this is another hire that he's made that is one of his buddies, one of his friends, and a person that he's worked with. So to me, if it doesn't work out, it is a fair criticism to look back and say, all right, well, maybe you need to go hire somebody else outside of the organization. Even if it's something that you're not overly comfortable with doing, maybe you need to go do that, because the last 2 times, if it doesn't work out with Kelly, the last 2 times you would have done it, not a great look offensive for your offense and with offensive coordinator. So I agree with you. Like, I don't think Vrabel is just saying, you know what, forget the rest of the league. I know the best. I'm hiring people that I'm comfortable working with, and that's going to be the way I do things moving forward. But the fact is, that's the way it's played out. And if it doesn't work, he needs to be criticized for that.
Sure. Yeah, but that's the thing. And I don't think we're going to have a clear answer on this. I think there's some indications that he was like, there's a lot of on the text line too, like these are sham interviews and all this stuff. Now, I think Vrabel may have overstated, numerous and how many people and all that. Yeah. But I don't think it was a sham that he was out there looking at other people. And I think you may have hit on something. I mean, I think it sounds, based on the reporting that's been out there, like there's some, I don't know about that. Thanks, but no thanks. And I wouldn't blame people, because the thing is, the bigger issue last year is that the pieces you had to work with were real problematic.
Right.
And right now that hasn't changed. It may change. It's going to take a hell of an offseason for Rand Carthon to change it all in one offseason. So, like, I can understand why people would be hesitant. So is this Vrabel's backup plan to, we'll go with Kelly? It could be. And I think fans would probably feel better about that if they knew that for certain. Of course, he would never say that, right?
Sure.
But the timing of it is interesting. I don't think you needed to wait this long for this. And some of the stuff Vrabel has said sounded like he's waiting for someone, and all of a sudden they figured out, well, you don't need to wait for someone anymore. But another thing to bring up real quick is, you're right. I mean, these are all, higher, it's people he worked with or whatever. The one exception, and I'm talking at the coordinator level. Well, LaFleur's an exception because that was when he came in, and that was kind of done for him. But Downing actually is kind of an exception. Like, Downing was here, but he was a hire from outside, for tight ends, which is interesting. So actually he was a lot less of a, like, quote unquote, in the Vrabel family than these other people like Bowen and and everything. So, and of course that's the one so far that hasn't worked out. But yeah, if this one also doesn't work out, I mean, you can't just blame personnel. Of course, you have to blame. You have to look at coaching decisions and coaching hires. And I think it's clear, like, Titans fans have a much different view, I think, of Vrabel than they did 7 losses ago.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. 615-737-1025. This has been the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com. We'll get his thoughts on the hiring of Tim Kelly as Titans offensive coordinator. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch The Game.
Haskins again doesn't get it. Jaguars have won the AFC South.
We talk the game.
The offensive side of the football for the Titans, who should be back next season.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
You can trek through the savannas of Africa. Wait on the magic moment on the Great Plains of North America. Or find the thrills of Patagonia. You can book your dream hunt at the SEI Convention, coming to Nashville for the very first time. Come find your adventure February 22nd through February 25th. It's the ultimate sportsman's market, a place for every hunter. And this year, it's happening Music City style, with special performances by Lee Brice, Big and Rich, The Frontman with Gretchen Wilson, and of course, Leonard Skinner. It's a celebration of the outdoor lifestyle, February 22nd through February 25th. Come find your adventure. Just log on to safariclub.org. One more time, that's safariclub.org. This convention will sell out, so reserve your spot today. Come find your adventure.
Here's a Valentine's reminder from Genesis Diamonds. It's not just the thought that counts, it's the effort too. So let Genesis Diamonds turn your Valentine's Day gift into a grand romantic gesture with our Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Right now, when you spend just $99 or more at Genesis Diamonds, we'll give you gourmet chocolates, a bouquet from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward a romantic dinner at STK Steakhouse. It's just one stop at Genesis Diamonds and you create a total romantic experience. You simply choose which ring, pair of earrings, or bracelet or sparkling pendant best matches your special someone, and we'll take care of the rest. And as always, we'll guarantee the best value price with no commission salespeople. The Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Jewelry, flowers, dinner, and candy from Genesis Diamonds. Sure does make it look like she's worth the extra effort. And that's the thought that really counts. Hurry in now because packages are limited. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The Venture X card from Capital One gives you premium travel benefits, perfect for seeing Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Presented by Capital One. Ooh, I do love her. Earn 5 times miles on flights and 10 times miles on hotels through Capital One Travel.
Enjoy your stay in Suite 13.
Whoa, 13? That's Taylor's lucky number. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Battery trouble? You might just need a fresh charge, and we can take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Titans named Tim Kelly their new offensive coordinator and Charles London their pass game and QB coach. Yesterday, Mike Vrabel spoke on the hires.
Yeah, I think what Tim ultimately was able to do was be able to provide some familiarity and some carryover to what we were doing, because I don't think everything's broken. I don't believe that. But then also be able to, add some things that, can really help us and take advantage of some opportunities. I've seen him, call games in this league against us. Felt like he has a great feel for the game.
The Nashville Predators fell to the Vegas Golden Knights 5-1 in Bridgestone on Tuesday, and LeBron James passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar by breaking the NBA all-time scoring record. Tonight, Vanderbilt will host the Tennessee Vols in Memorial. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. This report is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezvik for 102.5-106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robby and Rexrode. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace.
Stone Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
1025 and 1063.
Cranks it, he scores. On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezvik here with you on this Wednesday morning, talking Titans. And to help us do that, we go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend Paul Kuharsky from PaulKuharsky.com. PK, good morning. How you doing?
I'm well, guys. How are we?
We are really well. Appreciate you taking time to be with us here on the program. PK, what did you make of the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator and the timing of the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator?
Well, I was annoyed with myself that I convinced myself that the long lag meant that one of the Kansas City guys was in play, because the logical conclusion from the beginning was that Tim Kelly was hired to be the coordinator in waiting, but they like to announce all these moves together. Grateful that they didn't wait for a running backs coach to be in place, or we might have waited another week or 10 days. for this release. But, it was the obvious conclusion from the beginning. I know Joe thinks that this puts Tony Dews in place to be the next coordinator. I would say we've gone from tight end coaches being the next coordinator to passing game coordinators being the next coordinator. So if Tim Kelly does great, Charles London would now be next in line.
Well, hey, I'm glad that you came right out misquoting me. Good job there, buddy. No, I didn't say that. I do believe that being as a tight ends coach puts you in better position in general compared with a running backs coach. That's what I said. But I need to ask you so many things about this. First of all, I'm with you on the Kansas City thing. Do you believe that Vrabel earnestly reached outside his bubble, so to speak, and that the timing says something about maybe a word coming back like, no thanks, or something along those lines?
Bieniemy said at the Super Bowl he's not taken any offensive coordinator interviews. So that indicates he hasn't and suggests he wouldn't. So that crosses him off the list. Nagy's the only other one that we know.
And that's the big one to me.
Yeah, and I don't know that anything came back on that. I mean, he's so good at keeping things secret. We don't know that he talked to him in the initial allowable window during Kansas City's bye week. He said he talked to lots of candidates. I don't put it past him that he talked to some people that we don't know, but we don't know. It was London. It was Kelly. The reports were Nagy and Bieniemy didn't happen for sure, we know. And it was Uten, who wasn't necessarily for offensive coordinator from Denver. So that's not a lot. Either Vrabel's definition of a lot is different than ours, or there were some people in it that we didn't know about. Could have been some people out of contract that he wouldn't have had to ask permission about that would have been easier, quote unquote, to keep quiet. But I think it's an insular thing, generally speaking. And look, I appreciated his explanations and everything. I think he did a good job kind of easing concerns, if you will, yesterday. He hires plenty of outsiders, but they're all very junior positions, and you have to work your way up. In terms of the big spots, outside of Downing, it's been people he knows, and somehow he does a really good job of skirting the idea that he's an old boy network guy when he's, in fact, I don't think I'm being unfair, when he's an old boy network guy. They all are. They hire people they know.
Well, PK, to that point, I would describe a lot of the reaction that we've gotten today to the hiring is disappointed from Titans fans, and they kind of point to what you just talked about of hiring people that Vrabel knows. So are you surprised with the reaction to the hiring of Tim Kelly? What's been your experience with the reaction that you've gotten from Titans fans?
Well, yeah, I think people are mostly disappointed because they see it, and Joe wrote a little bit about this, as an opportunity to go out and choose from the entire world. It's not really true, the entire world, but the entire world of available people. And you go and pick somebody who's been on your staff. And then Joe plays this game that I hate, where he says, if Kelly wasn't here last year, people would be excited about it. I don't know why we like to do this imaginary thing. Kelly was here last year. So, we had this in the Hall of Fame room. If they kicked to Devin Hester more, he would have scored 20 more touchdowns. But they didn't kick to Devin Hester more. So I don't know why we do the imaginary thing. Kelly was here last year. His fingerprints are in some fashion on what happened last year. So that's part of his resume. And people don't like that part of his resume. I don't like that part of his resume.
Okay, well, that's fine. I will continue to do imaginary things. I love living in imaginary worlds. But, Paul, I think your question in the word insular, I think it's all fair. I think it's a good question for Vrabel, and I understand people feeling that way. But isn't that kind of how the world works? I mean, like, I always find it interesting in our business in particular. We question hires like this, but even like fans of whatever business they're in, I mean, don't people like to hire people not just because they're friends or they know them, but because they know they're trustworthy or like know their work ethic, know something about how they go about their business? I mean, I do think that at some point, I think what you're talking about is, go out and get, the Dan Quinn who got fired and say, come in and I know you'll be a great coordinator. I mean, I think at some point in Vrabel's career, he's going to have to do something like that. But I do think maybe a little bit too much is made of this when it's, to me, kind of a logical way of going about things, isn't it?
I get what you're saying, but I do. But let's look at it this way. He was really impressed with the interview of Jason Hotaling, the new offensive coordinator, who's another interior promotion. And again, I can understand. He hired a guy a couple of years ago who was an underling, who's grown, and he thinks is ready, and who had a great interview. Arthur Smith had a great interview and turned into a great offensive coordinator. But it's interesting that he never comes out and says some outsider had a great interview and blew his socks off. Like, where's the room for that? Is my only question. And I thought he gave a good answer, Joe, when he said that, we've hired really well. And so we've got really good internal people, though it feels like he demoted two of the really good internal people. I agree with what you said there on Tony Dews and Pat O'Hara to analyst roles.
Steckel. Yeah, Steckel and O'Hara.
Steckel and O'Hara, sorry. But I don't know. It just feels like – and look, I think it's been overblown. People call, Downing his buddy. He didn't know Downing. So Downing's evidence to the other thing. Downing was a guy that came in from the outside and backfired. So he's evidence on the other side. But I don't think it's unfair to say how do you not look at the world of available possibilities out there and find somebody you like who would breathe some fresh air into this thing, which clearly needs some fresh air.
Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So with the hiring of Tim,
and let me be clear, Robby. The one thing, I mean, all these guys to me come in, and this is not what the fans will do, but this is what I will do, and I think what everybody in the media will do. Some bending over too far, but they all get clean slate. I mean, we haven't talked to Tim Kelly. We won't talk to Tim Kelly till April or May or June, and I'm anxious to hear what he has to say and to get to know him.
So. Obviously, we've talked about the Tim Kelly hiring in terms of, I mean, it's pretty clear they're going to stick with the same system. How open do you think Vrabel is and Tim Kelly is and should be to changing the way things are done while still operating within the same system? Like we talk all the time, like San Francisco runs a similar offense, right? LA runs a similar offense. Green Bay, you can go up and down the list, but it just looks different at times. How open do you think Vrabel truly is to maybe changing things up within the system?
Sounded pretty open yesterday, I think. I mean, he talked about, not wanting to be predictable with the personnel that's on the field, wanting to get into the same formation out of different players, not wanting to signal run or pass with people on the field, and that needs to come from personnel. I thought he did a good job steering away from personnel being a big issue yesterday, but clearly that's where this thing starts. And then, the spring, these guys are going to sit down starting pretty soon, and their time's going to be split between reviewing players and putting together the playbook with some flexibility built in for who exactly is on the roster. But if they have what they want, they're going to build this offense or rebuild it. So he made it pretty clear there's a baseline for what they want to do and what they know they're going to be good at, and then they want to kind of rejigger what's around that. And I think that's the best most of us hoped for. We knew they weren't going to, come in and turn this thing into Kansas City's offense. They're not going to have the people to do it, and he doesn't have the desire to do it based on his fundamental principles.
Right. And Kelly's offense certainly was different in Houston than this one. And, different personnel. I mean, Deshaun Watson's in shotgun the entire time. One quick question. We got to do some quick math here, PK. Percentage chance right now that Ryan Tannehill is the Titans starting quarterback in 2023.
80.
Only 80. Okay.
Only 80.
I'm creeping up into the high 80s. I think I'm in the high 80s.
I mean, I thought 80 was high. I'm very confident he's going to be the quarterback going forward.
PK, last thing for you here. Who's your pick in the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday?
Yeah, I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles' pass rush is going to dictate the day, and I think Mahomes' ankle at some point will become an issue. I just think the Eagles are overpowering on the pass rush, and that's going to key the whole thing. I also live with 2 Eagles fans, so I have no choice but to get on board.
That's a good point. PK, appreciate you taking time to be with us. We will try to get Rexrode out of imaginary world by the time your next visit comes around next week. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
You know, if Tim Kelly had won 2 Super Bowls before he got here, people would really love to hire.
Like, it's a good point.
That's a great line. I'm stealing that.
Thanks, PK.
See ya.
Paul Kaharski from paulkaharski.com, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans, the hiring of Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. More on that coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Come on. Join Robby and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Hey, football fans, FanDuel has the perfect way for everyone to get in on the Super Bowl 57 action with a no-sweat same-game parlay. That means everyone gets bonus bets back if your Super Bowl SGP does not hit. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account. Same-game parlays let you combine all of your favorite bets for a chance at a bigger payout. So start by building your own or bet a popular SGP already made for you in America's #1 sportsbook app. I do think the Chiefs are going to win. Patrick Mahomes is going to be your game's MVP. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM when you download the app. Either way, you'll get bonus bets back if your no-sweat same-game parlay doesn't hit. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older in present Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
The big game is finally here, and so are huge savings at Electronic Express. Come into any of our convenient locations and save big on 4K TVs from your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, Bluetooth speakers, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Score amazing deals in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
Bart Starr didn't play much his senior season at Alabama after a coaching change left most seniors on the bench. That didn't stop the Green Bay Packers from taking a chance on Starr, drafting him in the 17th round of the 1956 NFL Draft. The gamble paid off. Starr went on to a Hall of Fame career with 5 NFL championships, as well as winning the first 2 Super Bowls in NFL history, winning the MVP of both.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
When there's a chance for a championship trophy, you need to have the right people in the right positions. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 875 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most qualified candidates, which means you can start hiring the right people faster. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Want to weigh in on the conversation?
It's a brain booster.
Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Thanks to Paul Kaharski for joining us in the last segment. It is another edition of Love Week right now on Robby and Rexrode, brought to you by Moments Peace Day Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs. And if you win today's edition, you'll win a $100 gift card to a Moments Peace Day Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs and be qualified for a chance to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card as well. We've had some fun on our text line with this. We'll continue it today. And today's question is this: your best pickup line that you've used. Could be your worst pickup line too, but the best pickup line that you've used. Hit up our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Michelle Knezovic, our judge today in the competition, and she's looking forward to this one. So.
Listen, I want to know yours, Robby's and Joe's. I saw Joe smiling for a second on the Zoom.
I don't know if I've ever used like a pickup line.
Pleading the fifth.
Oh, boy.
Let's use my natural charms.
It's overflowing.
Just took my shirt off, you know.
Yes.
Basically.
Looking forward to the Robby and Rexrode edition where that happens on the stream too. It's going to be good stuff.
I know. We need to start doing that, right? We should have a full segment of me prancing around in front of the camera.
I agree.
Shirtless.
Hit up our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We will announce today's winner on that a little bit later here in the show. LD from McMinnville on the text line says, so the Chargers interviewed Steckel for their OC position, but the Titans demoted him. That seems odd, no? This from LD from McMinnville on the text line. What do you think of that, Joe?
Yeah, it's very interesting. And yeah, look, I mean, Vrabel didn't say these guys were demoted. Of course, the Titans would never say that. But I mean, if you go from coaching a position to not, and then you have analysts in your title, I don't know how else to view that. So I don't know. Did he get demoted because he interviewed with the Chargers? I'm saying that, tongue in cheek, but yeah, it is very interesting, without question. Real quick, to my personal text line from Chase McCabe to counter Kaharski a little bit. It's a good point. Vrabel did bring in Jim Schwartz, someone who he didn't have a previous relationship with for the last couple of years. Now, he didn't come into a prominent position, but you're talking about big resume, big egos and all that stuff, and a guy who'd been a head coach and a high-level D coordinator, and he came, he brought him in, and I think, I'm sure that Jim Schwartz deserves some level of credit for, some of their defensive success in the 2 years he was here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, it is interesting as you take a look at the OC spot now. You've hired Tim Kelly. The more we talk about it, the more I think about it, the more I wonder, like, the timing of it a few days before the Super Bowl, when if it was Tim Kelly all along, you could have just done it a couple of weeks ago. Like, it does make me wonder if, like, a Matt Nagy, for instance, said, you know what, it's not going to happen, guys. Thanks for the interest, but not this time around. And how many options were there for Vrabel? Now, to that point, they did interview Charles London for the offensive coordinator job, and he has ended up with their organization now as the passing game coordinator now. So they did, PK was talking about how, the interview process, how many times have you heard Vrabel talk about an interview that kind of blew his socks off and it wasn't somebody from the outside. I agree with him for the most part. They did interview Charles London. Vrabel talked yesterday about how he really enjoyed the interview, and now he's here as a part of their staff.
Yeah. Now again, London and Vrabel had a pre-existing relationship in Houston, so he still falls into the category of quote unquote Vrabel's buddies. But as PK correctly pointed out, and we talked about it earlier on the show, Downing actually doesn't fit into that category. Downing was an outside hire who got that promotion, and look, I think that's absolutely fair to say it was a mistake hire by Vrabel. When he elevated him, he had just elevated Arthur Smith from the same job, which was tight ends coach. And obviously that had worked out beautifully. And when Downing was elevated, he had the one disastrous year as a Raiders OC. And again, he got a lot of the blame. I'm sure he deserved a good chunk of it. There were a lot of other things going on there. You know, Downing will never, I would expect, will probably never get another chance to be an OC in this league. And I think that's fine. But I do feel a little bit for him because he had some tough breaks here, especially in this last year. But at the same time, they did go backward 2021. It wasn't just because of personnel, and certainly I think the playoff game, his performance was poor.
No question about it. So now the question is, and you brought it up in the last segment, you know, Tim Kelly did not run the exact same offense in Houston. I mean, they spent a lot of time in the gun. I mean, Vrabel even talked about it yesterday. You know, he was referring to Davis Mills, how early in that game they weren't having a whole lot of success against the Titans, and then they basically adjusted and went and emptied the whole game. And we know what we've talked about that game with you. We talked about that game with John McClain. Texans had a chance to win that game against the Titans when on the day which the Titans clinched the number 1 overall seed. So I am interested, from that standpoint, what are the different ideas he has in the passing game? You know, how much more unpredictable are they on first and second down? Can you get Chig Okonkwo and others, and Treylon Burks, I'd include in this conversation too, to the point where whether it's a running down or a passing down, whatever it is, they're out there and they can handle both roles. There's a lot that goes into it, but I am interested what the philosophy is going to be from Tim Kelly. And to your point, it's not like he's always run the same exact offense that the Titans are doing right now.
No, he didn't. It was a different offense. And Bill O'Brien has always been big on his offense being multiple. Like, I'm not a West Coast guy. I'm not, he doesn't like to be put into a box. But, Vrabel has kind of referred to that too. And I agree with this also. It's like, I mean, they all know all the concepts, man. They know all the concepts. They know the schemes. They study them either because they're defending them or because they're copying them and using them themselves. Whatever works. This is full-on copycat league. Always has been, always will be. Again, more concepts have come up from college, which I think has been great for the game. But they know all the stuff. It's a matter of what you want to put in your menu, and then also how good you are at devising a particular game plan and sequencing plays and setting up plays and maximizing your talent. Scheme, I think scheme in general in sports is overrated. Like we've talked about it in hockey, or system or whatever. And I think it's true in football too. I mean, it ultimately comes down to if you're not a coach who, like the Chiefs are a great example of, they changed a lot of what they do because of who their quarterback is and then with their receivers. And so we think that's Andy Reid's offense. His offense hasn't always looked the same. It's looked vastly different over the stretch of his career. The consistency is he's good at getting the best out of his players, and then it also doing all the planning and play calling and the creativity.
Coming up next, it's time for The Choice Is Yours. 2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions. We'll get into that coming up next. Preds fans, tune in to Smashville Live tonight at 6 o'clock from Bridgestone Arena from the Nash Vegas event. The Nash Vegas event is a ticketed event. For more info, visit NashvillePredators.com. Smashville Live brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, Little Harpeth Beer, and Superbook Sports. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with a shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
A Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Want to be the real hero this Valentine's? Genesis Diamonds makes it easy with the Total Romance Package. It's the jewelry, the flowers, the candy, and the dinner out. All the key ingredients for a memorable Valentine's celebration. Here's how it works. When you buy any piece of jewelry for just $99 or more, we'll give you some gourmet chocolates, a bouquet of flowers from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward dinner at STK Steakhouse. We've pulled together some wonderful Valentine gift ideas for the occasion. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands, affordable timeless gifts she can enjoy for years. And of course, if you're thinking of getting engaged this Valentine's, Genesis can create the ring of her dreams with our dazzling GIA diamonds and designer mountings. Unlimited possibilities. So bring the sparkle and the romance with one-stop shopping at Genesis Diamonds. Spend just $99 or more with us and get the flowers, the chocolate, and gift card for dinner as our gift. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Limited quantity. See store for details.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Valentine's Day should be a day to look forward to, unless you have erectile dysfunction. Don't ruin this Valentine's for you and your special someone. It's time to get the solution you want, not depend on the pills. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. Are you ready to make Valentine's great again and get the results you want in the bedroom? Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and blood flow analysis, totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, Maria in Miami, and Jules in Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
102.5 and 106.3, The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robby and Rexrode 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Jason Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
We all have choices to make. Like right now.
Come on!
It's The Choice is Yours, built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice, so when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete, and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com.
Come on!
The choice is yours, now on Robby and Rexrode.
It is that time of the week, time for The Choice is Yours on Robby and Rexrode, brought to you by Jarrett Companies, your one-stop shop for site and utility work, fire protection, paving, and concrete needs. Get your free estimate at JarrettCompaniesInc.com. I am in the questions chair today. Would we like to begin with sports or non-sports?
Let's do non-sports today. Switch it up.
All right. So, in honor of the Super Bowl, which this is not about the Super Bowl, but it is in a way. What is your best Super Bowl snack or meal? Your best Super Bowl snack or meal?
Joe, you go first on this one.
Well, first of all, I'll say that one year we decided to get, I will not name the place, but we decided to get buckets of chicken from there, and we all got very sick, so that's my worst.
It's not good.
But I'd say, the best, I don't have like a great, I don't have like some, I like nachos on stuff, wings, I like all that stuff. But I've had some friends who have made a buffalo chicken dip that is just absolutely dynamite. And I've always wanted to do it. I have not made one yet. In fact, I might have to do that this weekend.
Well, that's part of my answer is buffalo chicken dip. And I usually pair it. I've got buffalo chicken dip that I'll start off with. And as the game gets going, some chili gets involved too. And, I'm typically a different chili connoisseur. White chicken chili I'm here for all day. But for the Super Bowl, I'm just normal chili. Just give me the normal chili. I'll put some cheese in it. I'll put some sour cream in it. I'll mix all that stuff together, and we'll get rolling. But it's like every Super Bowl, I need to have some buffalo chicken dip and some chili.
Okay, I feel like for me, I always switch it around. Like in college, it was always, okay, let's go to the freezer section and just buy all the little finger food appetizers because you can just pop them in the oven. But now, since I'm a grown adult and I'm such a chef, buffalo chicken dip is definitely high on my list. And then if you want to make it a little healthier, you can use Greek yogurt. And I promise you, it does not taste different. I promise you.
Who's got time for healthier?
Listen, I've been eating very bad, so I'm going to give people a little tip. But also nachos, like chips. I don't know if you guys have seen videos, but people just put tinfoil like over their counter and just like throw chips on there, get a little ground meat on there, cheese, whatever, however you like to dress your nachos. But
a big nacho bar.
Yeah, big nacho bar is always a good go-to.
Todd from Gallatin with a vote for jalapeno poppers. Not bad.
Oh yeah, always a winner. The fried pickles are huge in my household too. A charcuterie board is kind of a little bit more of an adulting way, but just meats and cheeses and stuff.
Yeah.
Some olives. Yeah.
No olives ever.
All right, moving to sports. Which coach in this state has more pressure on them right now? Jerry Stackhouse or John Hines? Jerry Stackhouse or John Hines?
I can go first on this one. Okay. I think as far as fan bases, John Hines. And this is no shade to Vanderbilt, but maybe it's just because I feel like we hear a lot more from Preds fans. And just because of the success we have seen, in 2017, and then the team just not being able to figure it out or make a big run consistently. So I'm going to take John Hines. I think that this year is going to be very telling for his future.
When you say pressure, do you mean from fans or from, people who can control their jobs?
It could be both.
So I think it's a good question. It's a good question. Of course, good timing because, Vanderbilt has Tennessee in tonight. A week ago, Vanderbilt lost 101-44 to Bama. They responded with a win. But, Vanderbilt fans in year 4 for Stackhouse aren't happy. Preds fans aren't happy with John Hines. I think I would go Hines because in terms of the bottom line, I think that there's a little bit better chance that Hines is not the coach of the Predators next year, one way or the other, than there is a chance that Stackhouse is not the coach, if that made sense. Or am I double negativing? I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. I think there's a better chance that Stackhouse is the coach of Vanderbilt next year than Hines is the coach of the Preds next year. So that's the way I would go. But I think it's, the rest of these, but both of their seasons here, critical, no doubt.
I think I'm going to lean Stackhouse just because the Alabama game to me was a little bit of an eye-opener of, man, what's going on here? Now, look, I know they came back and they won against a not very good Ole Miss team the other night, so that is what it is. But, you got Tennessee tonight coming down the stretch here. You're not going to make the tournament again this year. I think I'm leaning Stackhouse in this conversation, but I think it is close. All right, moving back to non-sports. In honor of the Super Bowl and some of the media at the Super Bowl, which we discussed earlier this week, What random non-sports event would you like to cover? And I could go first on this one if you need some time.
Yeah, you go first.
Mine's Bonnaroo. I don't want to go to it. I just like to cover it and interview people one time. I just want to see, like, all right, how many of you have showered? How long have you been here? What does the campsite look like? What sort of activities are going on around the campsite over here? Bonnaroo would be a non-sporting event that I would love to cover one time.
Yeah, I'll jump in on the Cannes Film Festival just because it looks like an amazing place, like it's a south of France and watching movies and talking to movie stars and stuff. I think that would be awesome. I hear you on Bonnaroo. I don't know, like concerts though, and even like award shows. I don't know that it's like I'd rather if I'm at a concert, I'd be mad that I'm not like in the masses, unshowered, shirtless. Also, by the way,
but it's more about the people watching and talking to them. I think.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's yeah. I hear you, but yeah, I'll go with Cannes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Met Gala. Just the fashion, the outrageous outfits, probably one of the most exclusive events, I would say, in our country. And I just think that it would be insane to cover the red carpet there and hopefully maybe get a picture as well.
I'd be so out of place. I'd be like, who are you? Okay. And
I would be thriving. I'd be thriving. They'd be like, Michelle, you need to get off the carpet. This is not about you.
Like I'm not even joking when I say this. Most celebrities that are around today, like today's celebrities, they could walk right in front of me and I'd have no clue who they were. No idea.
Wild.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are celebrities because of TikTok and stuff. So yes, I'm with you.
Half right. You're half right on that.
Okay. All right, back to sports. You can pick one Predators forward to have the best career from here. One Predators forward to have the best career from this point. Cody Glass, Juuso Parssinen, Philip Tomasino, Luke Evangelista. Those are your four options. Cody Glass, Juuso Parssinen, Philip Tomasino, Luke Evangelista. I realize that two of those are in the minors right now, but I think they're also not going to be in the minors for long.
So this is kind of goes along with the unknown is undefeated kind of thing because we've seen Tomasino, seen Glass, and Parson. So I'm going to go with Evangelista because I feel like if he can be that absolutely electric goal scorer, volume goal scorer, I think maybe of that bunch he would have the highest ceiling in terms of pure goal scoring. So that's what the Preds need. They need some electricity out there. So I would go with him.
Okay, so you're going Evangelista.
This is a tough one because, like Joe said, we've seen the two and then not the other two. But I'm actually going to go with Philip Tomasino on this one, and merely because I think that it would be the best storyline because of him, getting moved down. And we ask every week, okay, when is he coming back up? When is he coming back up? He could be helping this team this year. Then eventually when he gets back up, he just goes on a tear. And yeah, so I'm going to go Philip Tomasino on this one.
I'm going to go a different route. I'm going Parssinen because I love his size and his skating ability. He's a huge guy, and he's huge at 22. And if he's huge at 22, how much bigger, stronger is he going to get when he's 25, 26, 27? I like the way he moves. I like his vision. I think it's all going to be – I think Evangelista is going to be pretty good. I think eventually Tomasino is going to get it figured out, and he'll be a good player at the NHL level. We talked a lot about Cody Glass yesterday. I think he's probably got the highest ceiling when you take a look at it. But I'm going to go Parssinen because I love the combination of the size, the speed, and the skill that he brings to the table. It's crazy to me that I just picked a guy that out of that group is the 7th-round pick, but that's what I'm going with, Joe.
Hey, those can be great stories.
I
know of a goalie who
Brady.
was a low-round pick.
Well, there's Brady.
Oh,
I know of a goalie that was a lower-round pick. It's absolutely – we've seen it happen before. This has been The Choice is Yours. You can check it out every Wednesday morning at 8:30 here on Robby and Rexrode. Coming up next, we'll get back into the Tim Kelly hiring as offensive coordinator for the Titans. Take more of your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And Michelle Knezovic has a Love Week winner as well. We'll get into all that coming up next. But first, Joe Rexrode has a word from our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook.
Yep, this year, the only app you need at the Super Bowl party we just discussed is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. You download FanDuel now and use promo code Joe102. You can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet, which means you get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if the first bet doesn't win. FanDuel will let you bet on everything from your traditional money line point spread. You can bet on any kind of player prop. You can also combine them. If I was looking at a parlay Sunday, I like the Eagles. I like Hurts over rushing yards. I like Mahomes over passing yards. I think that's my parlay that I'm locking in. This is all in a top-rated sportsbook app that's safe, secure, easy to use, and you get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today with promo code Joe102. Claim that no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And you must be 21 or older, present in Tennessee, for a silent limited wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issue is now withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
Bart Starr didn't play much his senior season at Alabama after a coaching change left most seniors on the bench. That didn't stop the Green Bay Packers from taking a chance on Starr, drafting him in the 17th round of the 1956 NFL Draft. The gamble paid off. Starr went on to a Hall of Fame career with 5 NFL championships, as well as winning the first 2 Super Bowls in NFL history, winning the MVP of both.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
When there's a chance for a championship trophy, you need to have the right people in the right positions. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 875 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most qualified candidates, which means you can start hiring the right people faster. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Whew. Pick what you want at a price you want. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6.
For a limited time, price participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. On the card only. Single item at regular price.
Progressive is America's #1 motorcycle insurer, so we understand motorcycles. No, really, we have a bike translator.
Okay, so this bike feels like he's capable of a little more than just trips to the convenience store. Oh, also, he wants to let you know that you can buy a gallon of ice cream instead of a pint every time. Those are his words. So he said roughly like, blink the last wheel. It doesn't really translate, but the way he said it was super funny.
Get 24/7 roadside assistance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roadside assistance subject to policy terms and limits and may require comprehensive coverage.
He's got big takes.
It's not that freaking hard. Hand the ball to Henry.
Small takes.
You have to defend your decision.
But all takes.
They win. They just invested a lot into this game. It was the worst press conference.
He is Jared Stillman.
I guess I'm just not a very good coach, Jared.
Weekdays from 2 to 6. Stillman and Company. Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
I had the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Make sure you tune in later today for Stillman & Company live from Radio Row, brought to you by Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue in the Richland Creek Shopping Center. Pay no money down and no interest for 1 year right now during their tax refund sale. Jared live out at the Super Bowl in Arizona, so looking forward to that. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you. And speaking of Michelle Knezovic, she has a winner for today's edition of Love Week. The question was, give us your best or maybe worst pickup line that you've used.
And listen, there were a lot of creative answers. Some were not PG-13 for our show, so those will not be read on the air. But Caleb is our winner. He needs to send me back his info, but this was his pickup line. Hey, I lost my phone. It's somewhere around here. Could you try to call it quick? And then you have the girl or guy call it, and then he's like, and then the phone rings in my pocket, and you wink. He threw in the wink in there.
That's pretty good.
So that's a good one. Then you have their phone number, and you can be like, oh, you didn't even have to ask for it.
It's not bad.
Some of them, of course, you had the, you're the only 10 I see.
It's a little creepy, but not bad.
Joe, that is, go look at the text line. There are some creepier ones in there.
There's a whole lot of creepy.
I have an honorable mention. Can I have an honorable mention?
Oh, of course.
That scares me, but yes.
Yeah,
me too.
Well, it was the, are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see. Oh, yeah. I love it.
I'm sure that works.
Joe, has Katie said that to you?
No, we were in Michigan, but if we were in Tennessee, that probably would have been my pickup line for Katie. We probably wouldn't be married, and I'd be shirtless in squalor right now.
Congratulations to Caleb. You have won a $100 gift card to a Moment's Peace Day Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs, and are qualified for a chance to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card as well. Joe, your final thoughts of the day on the hiring of Tim Kelly, the timing of it. What do you make of the decision that the Titans have gone with to hire Tim Kelly as the OC? What, as we originally thought, was probably the favorite to land the OC job, and I'm with Kaharski. I basically talked myself into the last couple of weeks of they're looking outside the organization just based on the timing of things, and now they've ended up back with Tim Kelly.
Well, I did too, and I still believe that that there was an earnest attempt to talk to people outside, and so real quick, another kind of narrative buster, I guess here. This idea that Vrabel, because we've seen this on the Tyson too. Yeah, Vrabel just kind of delaying. It was always going to be Kelly, and just So if you're Amy Adams Strunk, who we know fired John Robinson this season, I'd say probably had at least some suggestion that some coaches needed to lose their jobs. Are you then going to be like, yeah, Mike, don't go out and actually try to hire other people. Just stick with one of your buddies. That sounds awesome to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really add up logically. So I think this timing may well speak to a hope of at least getting serious with someone outside of this, maybe like a Nagy. I mean, my gosh, I can't ignore how many times Tim Hasselbeck said that on our station, and that the timing kind of says, okay, maybe he was thinking it over. I mean, there's things that officially happen and can officially happen, and then there's actual conversations that happen all the time between agents and agents that don't stick to a timeline. So first of all, I do think that there's a real strong possibility that that's the case, and I think that people should keep in mind that Kelly did have some impressive things on his resume from Houston. It's not the exact same offense. Yes, he was here last year, so if you want to go with Kaharski and say he deserves some of the blame for last year, that's fine. My understanding is he was doing a lot of scouting and game planning, and I know he was working with tight ends in practice. I'd say give him a chance. It would be a lot more exciting for all of us, including from a media perspective, if we had someone new coming in, someone like a Matt Nagy who had been a head coach. But I don't think this is like some signing up for another year of doom. They have to get better players.
Well, and I said this earlier, and I stand by it now. One thing that Vrabel talked about a couple of times yesterday was the feel for the game, right? And it's hard to define exactly what that is. It just kind of feels like you know it when you see it. And having a good feel for the game is one of the things he brought up multiple times that he likes about Tim Kelly and this hire as offensive coordinator. Now, was that him directly taking a shot at Todd Downing? I have no idea. I think obviously feel for the game is important for every offensive coordinator. But how many times, Joe, this past season did we talk about, Well, this call here didn't make a whole lot of sense. The timing of doing this, running Malik Willis on a jet sweep here, don't seem like that was the greatest idea. Or having Traylon Burks try to throw the ball 53 yards across the field on a lateral. I'm not sure that's what they wanted to do there. I'm not sure that was the best idea. So, but again, Vrabel's involved in all that. How much will the feel for the game change? How much different does the feel for the game look like when you have better players? That's another part of this conversation. And how much different does all that look with Tim Kelly?
Right. Yeah, it's not like Vrabel was like, whoa, why did Traylon just throw that across the field? What is going on, Todd? And, again, that also speaks to the why didn't he give Tim Kelly a look during the season? Vrabel said it yesterday, and I take him at his word. I don't think it would have made a difference. I mean, they were unable to block people. They were unable to get open downfield. They had a lot of 1-yard runs into the line that were unfortunate. And it could have been better with better offensive coordinating, but there were some serious limitations on what you could do with that group last year. I want to add real quick that on our personal text line, Jared has confirmed he was pretty drunk when he sent that text to us last night, as I expected. Thank you for being honest, Jared.
I'm looking forward to him out at Super Bowl Media Day, or out at the Super Bowl in Arizona a little bit later today. The other parts of this, Joe, when you talk about the position switches, and we've talked about what does this mean for Luke Steckel, what does this mean for Pat O'Hara, the Charles London part of this, you're bringing him in. Tony Dews is going from running back coach to tight ends coach. It is interesting the way that they've kind of shuffled things up with the staff, and that word collaboration got thrown around a lot again yesterday at the Vrabel press conference. I feel like that's the buzzword of the offseason.
Yeah. Look, I mean, and it's a cliche, but sometimes cliches are true too. I mean, it is what it is. And London and Kelly have been together with Vrabel in Houston. You can look at that as a negative or a positive. I mean, I would mostly want to hire people who I know as much as possible about them. There's no better way than to work with them. I do think this is also set up if Kelly has success. London would seem to be the logical, internal next candidate. But again, that's if it goes well. If it goes poorly, well, then we can start talking about Vrabel's job. I mean, that's totally fair.
Yep.
I just like the idea that he's doing this with the hope of anything but finding answers and getting out of this rut and winning, to me, is silly.
That's going to do it for us today on Robby and Rexrode. We'll be back 6 a.m. tomorrow. Chase and Michelle coming up next. They've got Philip Forsberg joining the show at 9:30. You're listening to 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.